Chink chunk.
And we're live.
We are live, yes, sir.
We're live. What's up, everybody? Welcome to I've lost track of the episode count. Uncle Larry
Episode
Outdoors,
7.
the live, the hangout, the conversation. We got a good one tonight. We've gone off the rails. We've talked about a whole bunch of different topics the last few weeks, but tonight we're going to really get a little technical. We're going to get back to the fishing specifics, and really we got an all-star cast to talk about what we're going to talk about tonight, and that's swim bait fishing, gliding. I think we're going to leave this one mostly to Eric, Kai, and the audience. We'll be bringing in, we already got in our amazing guest tonight, Brendan Desmond. Desmond's been the swim bait connoisseur in his own right.
Should we do it outside?
And Brendan Brown is our custom glide guy. He's here tonight. Carver, we're gonna have some good convos. But
yeah, right. Yeah. So.
We'll let's open this up to some intros when we get a sec. Desmond, you could take it away, and let's take it from there. Stoked for a good convo tonight.
Welcome to the ULO Pod, episode 7, Glidin. So, as usual, we're gonna start off with how's everybody feeling. We'll just go around. Brief, just how we feeling today. Any cool shit that happened this week? I'll start first. I'm unemployed. However, we're on a crazy bite this week, a crazy chatterbait bite. We'll save that for another day, though.
That was I'm sorry. I didn't mean to laugh at that, Desmond, but you brushed that over so quick and went into a chatterbait bite, which is important news. Ironically, I was yapping about how I felt like I'm being limited as a man by not fishing during the week. That wish was granted. I know that feeling.
That wish was granted.
That's a demasculating feeling until it happens.
Wow. Oh my god, it feels like I got neutered.
That's funny that you were feeling that, and then
not even 12 hours later,
you the ability to now fish during the week.
Yeah.
It was rare.
So
God listens.
Next we got up Johnny. How you feeling this week, man? Any cool shit that happened?
Oh yeah, well, I just wanted to follow up on your little story. Just everyone be careful when you say I wish. That's been a big impact in my life, because when you say I wish I could fish during the week, I promise it's gonna happen. It's
gonna happen.
But you don't know how God's gonna let it happen for you, is all I'm saying. It's just so be careful wishing.
It's like one of those genie wishes. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You think it's gonna be what you want, but
it's like, oh, you got what you
always
wanted.
Some stipulations.
Always. No, it was wild. I was like, oh shit. What's granted?
Life is sacrifice. It's always a give and a take. So just be careful when you're asking to receive, because you're gonna have to give something.
Yes.
Man, I got a pretty cool week ahead. I'm heading to Puerto Rico. My buddy Mush is living down there. First of all, shout out to just everybody who's helped me get ready for this trip. I think it's a big trip for me personally on the fishing front, because I was talking to my buddy Jake, the dream catcher, about this trip, and I'm at a point fishing wise, with the exception of fly fishing stuff, but on a spin bait caster front, if I have the right group of 2 or 3 with me, doing stuff as a team, there's really no fishing I can think of where if you give me a week, I'm not confident we'll figure something out together. And where I haven't quite crossed yet is can I go out and catch something over 100 pounds, 150 pounds from the rocks by myself with no help, no one else around me? I haven't actually crossed that S tier threshold yet. So I'm really going down to give myself 8 days to catch one fish and prove something to myself. So I'm really excited about that. Shout out to everyone who helped make that happen. It's going to be a good week. I'm excited for it.
Sick. All right. Well, next we got Eric and Kai. How are we feeling today? How are we feeling this week?
Feeling good, man. Feeling real good, man. It's been a good week. Got some nice momentum. Just trying to keep our foot on the pedal and keep searching. You know what I mean? Keep seeing what's out there and in many different facets of the game.
Yep.
You know?
It's exciting for both fishing and creation these days when we find, say, a new bite, whether that be a new bite in new water or a new bite rediscovered in old water. And I would say we found one of those this week, man. But what was cool for me about it just was going out there with Kai yesterday. Obviously you see with who Kai's holding right here, just everything. We don't get to fish quite as much
Little hammer.
as we were in 2021 when we were degenerately going out every single day. But when we do go out, what's been nice recently is seeing how the evolution of the time we've put in over the past 5-6 years. I mean, I felt like Django and Schultz out there, man, hunting bounties. It was surgical, it was a full production level shoot from start to finish that we were able to accomplish in under 24 hours with nothing staged and everything real about it. So to me, that just was a nice little pat on the back for where we're at, because I know to do something like that, in that time frame is just, it's not easily attainable, so it's cool to see how far we've come.
Needless to say, we're back. We're back.
Oh, yeah. We're feeling good. Yeah, for sure.
Next up, we got our guest today. This guy, he's going to get an introduction, but quality-wise of what he puts out, this man needs no introduction. This is Mr.
Thank
Brown
you.
of Brown Bait Co. How you feeling today, brother?
Just tired. That's about it. For the past couple of weeks, I've just stayed up till like 3 a.m. building baits and like waking up early to get to work. And then as soon as I'm done with work, I'm like in here just trying to get work done. Not much fishing has been going on.
Respect,
man, the grind.
Respect.
And what is it that you make, brother, for the audience?
So I kind of do like a little bit of everything, but the thing is I don't sell everything. So like I keep some certain things kind of like tucked back and just kind of give them away to some buddies and use them for myself. So that's mostly like some of the soft plastic stuff I do. And then mostly what I do is build just like balsa glides, balsa crankbaits, balsa topwaters, some of the resin stuff too. Getting a little bit more into that and just kind of, because I used to do resin a while ago and now, I kind of gotten back into it almost. So working on some cool stuff.
For those of the people that don't know, I feel like we all know, but what's so special about balsa?
So wood is like a very special thing. And, you guys know Epic Eric, and I think he's super big into balsa. He's how we got in touch,
honestly. He was like the bridge here. Yeah,
exactly. He was the bridge in between us. And when it comes to like wood, you can see I'll show you 2 baits here. You can see the difference in the grain in the 2 of those, which means each piece of wood is slightly different. And each piece of wood has a slight variances inside of it and different frequencies. Like when this joint hits, it's a different sound than resin. And it possibly maybe emits a certain frequency that, the bass like more, maybe. I don't entirely know. But I feel there's something to wood that just catches them better. That's just my thought on it. And also balsa wood, it floats super hard. So you can get a bait to, like a crankbait to float super hard and back out of cover. So when it floats back up, a lot of the time it'll do this cool little wobble as it backs out of cover or something like that. And also it's just like a cool wood to work with. So it's very different. You can make floating glides a lot easier with it too.
Yo, Kyle, I'm sorry. You didn't just drop your baby, did you?
No.
I was like,
just my phone.
Brendan, that was so dialed, bro. But I freaked out for a second. I was like,
I would have been a little less calm than that.
All right.
Next up, we have our selects of the week. So we'll first go with Mr. Brendan. These are just a bait and a piece of music that you've enjoyed this week. It can be anything from any genre, any bait from any column. Fire away.
All right. So I'll start off with the bait. I'm going to go with the Marty Burns SB1. It's always a great bait for this time of year. I haven't been able to fish this time of year, this year yet, which is kind of sad, but that's always a great bait around this time of year that I absolutely love. And a piece of music. I'm like a huge rock, country, metal kind of person. I'm like super huge into music. So right now I'm in a big Tool phase. So I've been getting really into Tool's Rosetta Stoned song and just like picking apart like the little guitar parts and stuff like that. Is like it's so intricate. It's like one of their like I never got to actually like respect the song until recently. Like how well constructed it was and all the different little intricate pieces inside of it. It's really amazing. Well put together.
Great pick.
I feel like Tool, their band gets a bad rap for their fans because, like the name implies, their fans are a lot of times tools. But bro, they make good music. They make great music, actually.
Oh,
Dude, they're
Next
almost
up,
too
we
good.
have Eric and Guy.
My opinion on Tool is that they're actually too good. They're too dialed. That's my
you
problem
go.
with them.
I love
Yes.
Tool until they start to sing, bro. Like an instrumental Tool album would go so hard for. But the thing is, I like what Maynard has to say. I just don't love his voice.
It's
But,
interesting. It's an acquired taste. It is.
Tool.
It's different.
I
It
used
is.
to roast Tool, and I never listened to Tool. And then one day, I actually like listened to Tool, and it was the only band I listened to for like 3 months. Just
Yeah,
like
that happens.
I didn't even know if I liked it. I was like trying to figure it out. Like I was just infatuated.
It's like its own little genre. Like it's weird, you know?
Well, I think it almost makes sense for you, Brendan, as someone who's so detail oriented with like the stuff you're
Yeah.
creating. Because like there's
That's
such
funny,
a detail oriented band. Like
Yeah.
like there's every time you think you've heard every layer of their songs, like you could listen to it again and find a new layer. So I get that.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, it's wonderful music.
next
Wonderful music. I like it. Definitely.
Eric and Guy.
Oh, well, I know. You go first. You go first, because mine piggybacks off yours, actually.
Yeah. For music, I'll probably go off for that new J. Cole album, Drum and Bass. I like that song a lot. I've been bumping that. And for the bait of the week, I have what is that? Oh man, that was the Twilight Zone
Yeah,
noise.
I don't know what that was.
Like,
Who's that? Who's
Wait,
G?
why is there someone in the stream?
Who's that?
Who is this? Who's G?
We got a mystery.
They're gone now.
man.
They're gone now, so it don't matter.
They gone. They
What
gone.
do you mean they're gone now?
What was that? Oh, we've been infiltrated. Nah.
Oh,
we
boy.
gotta
The
figure
Mossad
it
is
out.
getting us.
You just got fired for that, bro. Chill.
I don't even care.
What just happened?
Oh,
All right. Anyway,
That was really strange.
that was kind of
That
weird.
was very strange.
My bait of the week though is the V joint Buka Glide. Man, I've been messing around with this thing for a little over a year now, and I really like the Buka swim baits because you can modify them pretty well. Like you can really adjust the swim on this thing to do what you like. So I opened the joint up a little bit to make it a little bit more choppy. So you still get that wide glide out of it, but if I engage the rod tip, I can get that thing to really kind of chop like a trick shad. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. So been really dialing in on this thing. They like it. So
All right, sick.
Yeah, so music, I also listened to the new J. Cole album, and it was crazy because the first thing on that whole album is James Taylor, Gone to Carolina, which is a song and an album that my mom had on CD. I'm talking like I haven't heard these James Taylor songs in maybe 20 years. And I went back and listened to some of that because I was talking about nostalgia with music the other week and how it's such a triggering factor. And that was such a great example of that for me, you know? So I went back and I listened to the songs, and James Taylor's awesome. So James Taylor is my pick for music. And then I had to shout out the Vision 110 Mega Bass. Just because I was going up with Kai fishing this week and catching him on a jerkbait, and I was throwing the pawn, Johnny. I was catching him on the pawn with a jerkbait, and doing that in a creek was just so much fun for me. I don't get to throw a jerkbait much down here. We used to all the time up north in the cold water, so it was that particular one, but it's more of just a shout out to the jerkbait, honestly, because I had such a blast catching fish on the spinning rod of the jerkbait. So James Taylor and jerkbaits.
Sick.
Well, I'll start with my music choice because that's less exciting. I did George Benson, "Give Me the Night." I was scrolling through songs. I'm like, this is a banger. I love George Benson. I love
Whatever
Give
you're
Me the
listening to,
Night.
bro. Hell
That's
yeah.
classic.
You know, I feel like, you know, like Kai, I'm sure. I feel like I've probably listened to that in the garage with you before.
Probably.
But like Ryan and I would drive around Sweden playing "Give Me the Night" because like the sun never went down, and that's kind of the vibe I'm trying to take with me into this next fishing trip, is just driving around an unknown island, just like listening to George Benson. So
Give me the night.
exactly, it's just like groovy, you know. Like I'm just trying to get groovy and like shake a little rust off, you know. It's been cold up here. Oh, Pops is in the chat. He knows what I'm talking about with George Benson.
Hey.
Now, bait wise though, this one I'm excited about. So like, as I said, I was going to PR. There's a whole bunch of baits and stuff that I wanted and needed for the type of fishing I'm going to be doing. So my goals are big cubera, big snook, big tarpon from the surf. I got 8 days to get those 3. The one thing I was missing was jigs. I had so many people come to our assistance as ULO and like help me out and get jigs for us, or everything but jigs, but I needed jigs. I hit up our boy from Organic Jigs, our man Griffin, and dude, so first of all, shout out to Griffin, shout out to our boy Rio, Eastside Surf Fishing, shout out to Strike Zone Fishing in Melbourne. All came together to help me get a ton of organic jigs in for this trip, because I got so much stuff for free from ULO to go do this, from like our Mexico trips and other stuff, but I wasn't confident doing anything without these flare hawks. And these are hand tied by our boy. But not only are they hand tied, I just think there's something about when baits are made with heart and made with real intention that makes a difference. And I'm just really excited to sweep these things in a place where I have confidence in the fishing and the fish population, but I'm lacking a little confidence in myself. This is the bridge there. So I'm excited. I'm also very grateful for the spirit and the energy Griffin puts into these baits, and that he believes in ULO, that Rio and our boys at Strike Zone believe in ULO, these local Florida companies and these local Florida guys who believe in a bunch of dudes from New Jersey who came down as jits and are now trying to make a name. I appreciate the mutual respect, and shout out Griffin, shout out Organic Jigs, shout out Rio and Strike Zone.
Hell yeah.
Hey, can we acknowledge that there was a sleeper agent in the chat?
Yeah, Kim.
In our stream, like it really happened. I'm sorry. I mean, there was another person
Who was that, bro?
with a crazy noise.
You're supposed to know.
It sounded like a
That's
parrot.
not our job, bro. What happened, Desmond?
Well, last but not least, my song for the week.
This is what the media does. See, they just brush over it. Like that didn't it didn't happen.
Desmond is compromised.
Swipe it under the rug.
We need to
Continue, Desmond. Yeah, what's your song, dude?
All right. Song for the week will be No Quarter by Tool. It's an honorable mention. It was a tie between the two. No Quarter by Tool. It's a remix by It's a Led Zeppelin remix.
Yeah.
Or
Okay.
And Suffer as One by Crowbar. Very heavy. Them boys down in the bayou. I don't know what they eating down there, but they're heavy. Shout out Crowbar. Come on the pot. However, my bait for the week will be I know we've all been familiar with the DRT series. This is the Clash Ghost. The Clash Ghost, in my opinion, is the best DRT bait out of all of them. It can turn from a multi-jointed swim bait to a wake bait. All you gotta do is just take weights off. It just floats and it just creates this crazy surface disruption. But if you lock it up, you can turn this into almost 11, 12-inch glide bait. Turn into a glide bait. That's actually how I've caught all my DRT bass on the Ghost, is gliding them. I one time went out for snook. I caught a long-nosed gar. Don't even know how it happened. That was the scariest catch of my life because I was trying to unhook it. There's 3 different hook points. I was so freaking scared, bro.
They're dangerous.
Not fun. Not fun. With no pliers? Oh.
With no pliers, bro. I had to pull it out with my fingers. I was like pricking them out with my fingers. I was like, oh, hell no. However, the DRT Ghost, if anybody's a DRT fan, they cost the same amount as like a Depths 250. Get one of these. They're 9 ounces. You could throw them on anything. Get one.
Right on.
They're incredible.
Hell yeah.
Clash has been doing. He got a couple of them recently, and it's funny. We're talking about glides tonight. This is a good segue almost. When Alex Sandville and Eli Robinson came down here, I always have to shout them out whenever we talk about glides, man. Because I know. Listen, I'd like to say this on the pod. It's actually good. A lot of people come up to us recently and tell us, you guys really pioneered the glide thing down here, and we genuinely appreciate those compliments. But I definitely have to point out, and this is a good segue. It's like we never threw these glides. What, 2 years ago? It's been about 2 years now.
Yeah.
Until one day, Alex and Eli rolled on down here to the HQ to do some fishing with us, and they brought those glides down here, and they showed us. And guess what? First ever glide I saw it happen on, to where Alex gave me one to throw, and I didn't have it like that at the time, or even now. So it's like, it was real. I handed Alex $100 bill. I'm like, I need that. Give me that glide. It was a tiny Clash.
Yeah.
And I just
remember that
on that thing
for
a couple of months before things got too hot in July. But that was the first one. And then, it got warped. I left it in the sun for too long. I never picked it back up. He picked them back up recently.
No, man.
After 2 years of, the evolution of us using them. Finally, he got some more. And he's been doing
the tiny Clash is
serious
dangerous,
damage,
bro.
Serious damage.
I ain't gonna say too much about it because I'm still experimenting. But there's a reason. There's a lot of hype behind that bait.
Bro.
Yeah, that's a swim bait of all trades. It's more than a swim bait, honestly.
No, it's that thing could be. So I've been fishing the tiny Clash for about probably 4 years now. I can speak to this shit, bro. Sorry, not shit. No profanity. However, I can speak to this. The tiny Clash is one of the greatest baits of all time. You can turn it into a crankbait. You can turn it into a dead walking bait and just kind of right in front of pipes. But you can also turn it into a glide bait. Bro, you can do anything with this bait. You can turn it into a freaking collector piece and just never use it and make money. You can do anything.
Wow.
The tiny Clash is the greatest bait of all time.
Well, I just want to real quick,
that.
before we get into Eric and Kai's bigger deep dive on glide bait fishing, getting Brendan involved here, I just wanted to quickly shout out, because we have Eli, Caleb, and Jonathan all in this chat. So just real quick, because
Shout out the boys.
First of all, Eli, bro, as Eric said, came down from North Carolina on nothing but a freaking plastic John boat with 25 bullet holes in it, and showed us how to fish. So shout out Eli Robertson for that. But I've been doing some stuff with Mystery Tackle Box personally, and I called Eli and I was like, yo, Eli, I want you to get on this stuff with your boys. And these guys went down to Florida, before I could send them any money or any sponsorship or anything, on their own whim, we're like, yo, I got you. I'm going. Send us a couple boxes. And all of a sudden today, I'm getting texts of Eli with 12-pound snake, 12-pound bowfin, and then him and his boys all drove down on their own dime to Florida. And Caleb sending me 9-pound largemouth over the fence day one, like
Wow.
without even sending me their banking info so I can get them a couple $100 for gas. Like these boys
Oh my gosh.
fucking know how to grind. They love it. Caleb, Jonathan, and especially you, Eli, bro. Like, man, you guys love this stuff. I just want to shout you guys out because, like, y'all inspire us in your own way. We'll get into the technical stuff now, but I just wanted to give them their flowers.
No, that was well said.
Well
man.
deserved.
Those North Carolina boys, man, they put in a lot of work.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They ain't some grinders, man.
It ain't easy.
And they taught us a lot. They taught us a lot about this big game stuff. It's one thing to see people doing it on Instagram or watching it on YouTube or whatever, but to see the results of what these bigger baits can do, like firsthand in person, is it's changed the way that we fish completely, as you guys can see. You know what I mean? The same waters we were throwing a chatterbait, spinnerbait around, a jig, you know what I mean, and catching fish. It's like these guys come and they're throwing these, 7, 8, 9-inch baits. Eli's throwing a depth 250, and they're calling out fish from places that we've never seen fish before. It's like, where did these fish come from? Where did they just appeared from, like a portal or something? It was crazy. So
Yes.
them boys onto something, man.
Yeah, what they did for us, I think at that time too, was, we'd been down in Florida for 3 years at the time, and we were all at that point entering our late 20s. So been doing a lot of fishing, and fishing will never get old to any of us, obviously. But for me personally, what excited me about glide baits so much, and this is what I tell everyone, beyond, the specifics of getting into the expensive glides and treating it like a sneaker collection and the whole swim bait culture. Listen, for me, it just opened up a whole new portal of fishing being fun. Like it reinvigorated this certain drive to fish new water, but even go back and go through some stuff that maybe I had overlooked in the past. Go out there. And again, as far as new water goes, it's like, now you have this whole new, okay, my drawing power has changed. If I go to this spot and I throw this bait, there's a better chance that even if I don't catch what's there, I might see what's there. And that was really cool for me, and to do it in a way that's not, it's not looking at it on a screen or anything, but it does, in a sense, do that for you. But it does it in a natural fishing way, calling out what's there. And then I can't even tell you how many times that's happened. Maybe it's a day later, maybe it's a year later. We'll go back and we'll get what's there, But with that glide, because it just has that pulling power. That's one aspect of it that's so interesting to me,
Mm-hmm. So I got a question that kind of builds on what you and Kai just said, and like you guys have really pioneered between the three of us and ULO, like the culture of the glide stuff. Obviously, like we didn't invent it, but like have tweaked it in ways on local waters where it's driven these crazy results. But just to get Brendan back in the mix, dude, like, and I'll start this question for you, but for everybody, really.
Yeah.
Like one thing I noticed is just, and this is where I think glides get interesting for people who haven't thrown them a lot. Like honestly, myself included. Like you look at this bait and it's almost intimidating. Like the size of it, the profile of it relative to the fish you're catching. But like I was just listening to you say, like, I feel like fish like wood for a reason. Like balsa hits different than other types of wood because of the way it literally the sound and the frequency it gives off. My thing is like personally, like I'm a very literal person, and I'm trying in my head always when I'm fishing to a fault to like justify some sort of like scientific or biological explanation as to why do bass hit this? Why do snook hit that? Versus just like witnessing, taking in information and almost accepting that like, hey, this is what they do. So I'm trying to figure out how to formulate this question, but like, where's your line between like, hey, this is why this works versus when you're creating a bait, especially versus like, hey, I accept that this does work instead of, and it might not make sense, but like, I'm going to run with it and I'm going to produce based off of what I'm seeing, even if it doesn't conceptually match like what we've been taught should happen.
Right. I mean, there's no possible way to get inside a bass's brain and see what it's thinking. Like, there's no, like, there's, I mean, maybe the technology's out there. I have no idea. But, I mean, to my knowledge, there's no way to tell, what a bass thinks when it sees, like, a bait. Like, I mean, a lot of the time I feel like it's a reaction strike, but sometimes it might be just an opportunity. Like, the fish is at the right spot to where if that bait was a real fish, that fish can't see him, but the bass can see it. The bass is behind a log or around some weeds or something like that. It may be just an opportunity, and the bait is, especially for a big bait, it's kind of like it's one meal. They can shoot out real quick, not expand a bunch of energy, and grab it and sink back into the weeds or something. So like, there's a lot of opportunity and reaction strikes going on there, which is what I feel are like the two main ones that bass are relying on to get those baits. So that's my thought process on behind why it would work sometimes. And I feel like most of the time a bait will fit one of those two categories. But every once in a while, you're like, that fish hit the bait the instant that bait hit the water. And I didn't even realize that fish was there. That made no sense at all to me, Like you've like thrown a couple of glide baits out there before, like right next to a cypress tree. And I'm like, there was a fish sitting right where that bait just splashed. And the fish literally instantly grabbed it. Like, I don't understand how the fish knew to hit it that fast, So a lot of the time I'll make a bait for a specific purpose, fishing structure. So like I'll make a bait that fits, that will do something for a very specific purpose. So like fishing cypress stumps and knees, or fishing in shallow grass, or fishing in timber and stumps. And I'll make the bait so it works correctly around those pieces of structure and test it. And if it works around those pieces of structure, doesn't get hung up, looks good in the water, and I start catching fish on it, then I know something's there. And it's one of those two reasons why that bait's working. Now, sometimes, obviously, there's some outliers there. But that's kind of, I guess, my thought process on building the baits. And sometimes they don't work. They just don't catch fish, So hopefully that kind of answers the question, I guess. I don't know.
No, it's really interesting because, like, I'm almost curious, like, how much of it is trial and error versus like what catches fish versus like what you can predict. Like when you create a new bait, do you hold something in your hand and are ever like, yup, that's it? Or is it always you have to go test it?
Every once in a while I'll get lucky and I'll be like, I'll look at it and go, this is one of the coolest things I built. And like, I know exactly how it's going to swim because the lip angle where I put the weight, the line tie, like I know, like I can look at a glide bait a lot of the times or a crankbait and I'm going to see where everything is. And I can kind of tell like how it's going to swim and what it's going to do. So whenever I build a bait, sometimes I'm like, okay, that's going to swim like this. I'm going to go test it and test that theory and then see if it'll catch fish, So that's kind of like, every once in a while I'll get real lucky and I'll be like, yeah, that's a good idea. I'm going to try it. Like I had this new idea the other day for a new kind of topwater that I've never seen anyone do before. I mean, I can explain it, but it's a little weird.
Yeah, explain it. Be our guest.
Yeah, go for it.
All right. So I've never heard of anyone doing it. So everybody knows what a spook is, right? And everybody knows what a devil's horse is.
Yeah.
Both of those baits are known to catch pretty big fish, especially devil's horse in Florida. So there's quite a few trophy hunters that use devil's horses and use spooks all over the world or all over the US that I know about. So I thought of what if we combine the two baits and combine the two actions? So I put a big prop on the tail, but instead of putting the weight back there where a spook's weight normally goes, I put it in the very front of the bait. So the front of the bait, when you twitch it, it swings the front of it and the tail is grabbing water. So the tail makes the bait have a bunch of drag, so it stays in one spot a lot stronger. Like the bait wants to stay in one spot, and the front of it just swings with that weight. because there's more weight and mass in the front.
Mm.
So the bait's going to try to swing like that in one spot and barely make any headway, barely make any movement forward. It's more or less movement sideways.
Yeah. Wow. Well, that's
Whoa.
Just gonna sit in
well,
place?
you're
That's
speaking
crazy.
to something right there.
If that
That's
makes-
funny
if-
you say that because you're speaking of rate of stall. And that's something
Exactly.
glide baits that is super important. I've learned this is shout out to Alex as well, man. I'm spewing his terms. I learned this term from him. Rate of stall, for anyone that doesn't know, is when you make a glide bait, chop, go out to the side. When it sits there on its side and starts to slowly sink or just stay there if it's floating or however it's weighted, that's rate of stall. And what we've found is that when you keep a bait in the strike zone for a long time like that, especially cooler water temps around certain pieces of structure, like if you look at a lay down, like there's got to be a fish there. Make 20 different casts around it. That rate of stall is super important. That's what draws those fish out. So the same thing
That's how I
applies
call
for
my
top
PB
water,
snook.
the devil's horse type bait in shallower situations around the spawn. So something like that they ain't seen before.
Yeah. That's why
I
this
was thinking
wide
like
glide has
7,
been so
8 inches.
effective. Yeah.
The
And it depends.
Gantrel,
Sometimes they want a super choppy glide. And on this topic, on the water feedback, that's what's so interesting about glide bait fishing is in real time, you could really collect so much data, per interaction. So as you're fishing and you have bass come up to your bait, it becomes you have such an intimate relationship with you're working your glide. You can see the exact moment that joint maybe sticks a little bit too long and that bass turns away. And they're funny like that, this is kind of a wide-ranging thing, but that's a big difference between bass and say something like a snook. If you're talking multi-species glide, a snook, if she's chasing your glide, a big female snook, you can just freaking sometimes erratically chop, and a little subtle, stick or whatever. If she's gonna eat it, that's not gonna make the difference. Now, whether a bass in clear water, a bass might see that glide just do the smallest, and that's it. Knows it's fake, out of there. So that's definitely something we've noticed with those water glides.
I feel like even with the Gantrel, to piggyback off of the rate of stall, it's either rate of stall, rate of fall. It's kind of the same thing, and I feel like that's a special thing that people don't talk about. There was a certain bait. I won't name the bait to knock the person, but that bait it sunk like a rock. But when I got the Gantrel, I urge everyone to buy a Gantrel. I'm gonna put that out there right now. Everybody buy a Gantrel. Not the Gantrel Junior, the full size Gantrel. And you can tune it to where it can actually suspend. And that's actually how I've caught my PB snook. I was ripping it, and then I just had it stop, and I had it so perfect. The water temperature, everything lined up to where it literally stopped, just like that. And that snook came out it was like a little culvert. It's fresh after the rain. Thing just whacked it. And I like what Eric is saying about the rate of fall. It's something so important when you're fishing, especially with these big swim baits. There are people that have made essays about it, videos about it. All those little things matter, even down to like how many split rings you have. Whenever it's 2, or if you have like a paracord attached to it, or if you have just one and then they twist it off. Just all that stuff matters so much. I did want to ask you, Brendan, when you're talking about these wood versus resin, so in your experience, have you made like a wake or anything like that?
I've made a whole bunch of wakes.
So
A whole bunch
when
of
you're
both materials.
Yeah. So how do you feel like what do you see in the difference of results, sound, everything?
Well, for sound is definitely one. I feel the wood wake is a lot louder, and it's also a little easier to do a wake out of wood because when it comes to resin, you have to put a ton of microbluids in it, which makes them more brittle and super easy to break. And wood baits, I will be honest here, a wood bait will outlast a resin bait if you build it right. It'll be a lot stronger because it's not all these little tiny, like, I guess you could say bits and pieces, but it's not really bits and pieces. It's this string of fibers going sideways like this in the bait instead of a bunch of composite like little particles stuck together and held together. So it does create more sound too, which I feel, especially if you use a hardwood. So something like a Japanese Haniki cypress. That's my favorite wood to build a wake bait out of. Basswood is probably next, and then balsa. So for when it comes to wake baits, I like the Japanese cypress because it's a denser wood. It's harder. I think it's the Japanese cypress that I have is like 25 or 26. I think it's 25 or 26 pound Japanese cypress, and then the balsa is like 20. So it's a denser wood, makes more sound.
Wow.
So,
That's
and they're also easier to build. Like when they're wood, they're easier to build because it's a floating bait already. The wood already floats, so you don't have to like mess with the weight as much. You don't have to like work on ratios and where the weight goes as far as resin baits go. So
that's really
easier on the builder. And the people have like messed with putting nails inside of the joints. So like taking like on each side of the joint, they might stick a piece of a nail sticking out on this side and this side of the joint. And then on the tail piece, they'll put a little piece of metal on each side of that joint. So when that joint hits, that nail hits that little piece of metal and makes even more noise. Now, I personally, I mean, I'm not a big fan of the metal like sound. I like the wood sound. It's just my preference though.
Brennan, do you remember a specific moment in your personal fishing where you realized that you wanted to pursue this aspect of it? Because I think it's funny how that varies person to person. I've met people in this game that fish every single day and could care less about making tackle and, inventing a new lure, right? And then I've met people that actually don't even fish that much, but love that aspect of it and everything in between. It's funny, like for me personally, I don't know, just for whatever, I guess like for me, it's like I'm fishing and then my other thing I've taken from it is the film and the creation. So it's like almost like I can't even inundate myself with more, but I've never thought about it in terms of like wanting to really pursue it, tinkering with my own bait designs and making baits. But how did that come about for you with your fishing?
Yeah, I built a 4-segment 11-inch swim bait. It was just like a bait fish profile. I have it in a box back here somewhere if you guys want me to pull it out. It was ugly as heck. So ugly. But I was so excited because it was the first real big bait that I had made. And I was like so pumped to like try it out. So I went ahead and I literally first gotten my license. So I drove to the lake and I was so pumped to try this thing. And I didn't have a boat at the time or a kayak or a paddleboard or anything. So I drove to the lake. I walked through all these reeds and these cattails to get to one of my favorite spots on this little lake. And, I've caught some good fish off of this very certain spot. And there's a couple of stumps that people have, when they built the lake, the stumps were cut, real close to the ground and they filled it. Well, I cast this bait out and I bring it right by one of those stumps and I see like a 7 or 8 pounder following this thing in. And I am like, holy cow, I need to do another one of these. So I keep on casting it into that area and I eventually hang it up on one of those stumps and I break it off and I'm like speeding back to the house to build another one. Because I am so like I literally have adrenaline running through my system on the way back and I try to build one as fast as I can and then something messes up. So I can't like build another one for another day or two. And then I'm able to go back there and I'm actually able to get the bait back because I'd wait out there because it was the summertime.
Wow.
So it was like, that was the moment where I was like, this is so much fun being able to build a bait, go out there, not even catch a fish, but see what that bait can do. See that fish was interested in that bait. And that was the moment where I realized I was like, I want to do this every day of my life because I want other people to experience that too. Because it's super fun. Like it's amazing. So
that's awesome.
That was the moment for me.
That's a really cool story. And I think it's cool to like, you get that experience in fishing, just like discovering fishing itself, like catching fish and oh my God, this is so amazing. So it's cool to re-experience that with like, oh my God, this element of it is so amazing. I need to hone in with this. And that's, it's, again, I think it's similar to what we feel with when we go out and film the eats with the glide baits, like for us, that's something that the glide baits do for us. Just like I said, it reinvigorated a certain drive just to go out and fish. We found this formula where, you know, when you slow down that moment, this is speaking on, I saw someone say the visual eat is their favorite aspect of glide bait fishing. What I think is so cool about is when you slow down that moment, when a big fish comes up and eats that glide and you're able to capture it on film and you put it to the right music and everything lines up perfectly. Someone that's never fished a day in their life can objectively look at that footage and maybe say, okay, I get the appeal there. I see why that's cool. That's how impactful a moment like that is. And you slow down. That's the moment that all of us chase as fishermen, is that exact moment right there. And I think there's no other bait that creates such a grand moment when it happens than a glide bait, you know, which is another thing that just makes them so cool and appealing.
Yeah, fish just react
Totally
so
agree.
much differently to glides, and I wanted to pick your brain a little bit, Brendan, when it comes to like making a glide bait specifically, and like the symmetry of it, you know what I mean, and
Mhm.
how important is it to have, like, for example, this is the buka, like I said. One of the things that I hear a lot from people when it comes to like buka's bait specifically is that they're a little rough around the edges in terms of like every specific bait is a little bit differently. Like it
Yeah.
might lean it might lean to the left a little bit more than it leans to the right. You know what I mean? Or something of that nature. How important or not important are things like that when it comes to like glide baits specifically?
Mhm. I mean, for glide baits, that's everything.
Yeah.
Now, I like a year or two ago, I came up with this like idea on how to simplify glide baits and building them. Is I think of them like an arrow.
Mhm.
All right, you have an arrow head on the front. You have something that's metal on the front that weighs it down just a little bit, and then you have this long piece of fiberglass or wood or whatever you want, and then you have the fetching on the back. You think of that kind of like a glide bait. In order to get it to what you want it to do, there's your fetching right there. This will sometimes, now depending on what you want the bait to do, this will stabilize or unstabilize the bait. The tail is a huge part. A lot of people don't realize that. The tail can change your action completely on the way it's put on there, the size of it, the weight of it, the thickness of it. And when you were talking about the joint and stuff like that, that absolutely does matter. We may not see it though. So whenever you fish a glide bait, it may glide and half an inch or a quarter of an inch more to one side. And that's why sometimes with these garage built baits, you may get one and you're like, holy cow, this thing is awesome. This thing catches way more fish than this other one that I bought that's exactly the same. Because it may glide a little bit different, just slightly. And those fish notice that because they live in the water their entire life. You know, they notice little tiny things like that. So
Yeah.
little things do matter.
I think that's so
100%.
interesting about bass specifically with glides, right? Because I see there's a lot of propaganda on the internet.
Mhm.
You know, a lot of people want to talk down on bass fishing, like, oh, bass are so stupid. It's such a pointless fish. Yeah, I catch basses. Like, if there's ever a bait that shows that bass are not as dumb as they appear to be, it's the glide bait because again, it's the subtlest little, you know, off
Little
movement
change.
in your cadence or the bait itself. They are out of there. Way different again
Yeah.
than snook, tarpon, jacks, any of the saltwater fish that we've caught on the glides. The bass just seem to be extremely picky. They follow it
Mhm.
all the time. They just
They'll
I wonder
touch
why
it,
that
they'll
is.
mouth it,
Yeah.
kiss it. You know what I mean?
Let me know if
Like,
you guys
oh
have
no,
noticed this.
that's not real. You know what I mean? Like they taste it. I actually think, don't they have like pores at
Taste
the end of their
receptors?
lips to where they can like taste things like through their lips? I think.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Probably
I don't
different.
know. I
scent,
feel
maybe.
like I've read that before.
I feel like I've seen
like
that
when you see
somewhere.
them mouth a bait, it's like them like actually
It's like them
trying to
inspecting
taste
it
almost.
almost.
Yeah.
They don't have
Let me know
hands.
if you guys have noticed
Well,
this. Like,
it's almost one of my questions with like sometimes the glide baits versus like the more reaction style baits. Is there a situation where like a glide bait gives the fish too much time to think? And like
Oh,
we should almost
yes.
throw something stupider so that they
Yes.
have to
Well,
hit it
well,
quickly.
thanks for speaking on it, because a glide bait, like anything else, is a tool. You know, speaking of tool earlier, it's a tool. It's not a way of life, you know, and you can listen, it happens too. When you get into it, you want to throw it a lot. You do, because the interactions you get, you've never had these interactions before. So it's almost an addiction at first. But as you develop along with it, you come to realize that, okay, I got my glides, but I still got my chatterbaits and crankbaits and jigs and worms and this and that. And, you know, if anyone who's fished for bass a lot knows that's bass fishing. That's why bass are so cool. They're so dynamic. You catch bass 30 different ways. And there's times when each one of those 30 will work a lot better than the others. So glide baits are really no different. And yeah, I think in certain situations, whether that be clear water or I don't know, what would you say is a situation that you would go to like a chatterbait or a reaction over? I would say
Clarity is a big
yeah,
part.
it has to be. But here's the weird thing about that, right?
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, you know this too. Clarity is kind of important for a glide
for bass
sometimes
fishing.
for bass, like getting them to come from a long ways, or like sometimes it can play to your advantage.
Mm-hmm.
So it all depends, man. Fishing is so situational. But the only thing I guess I could really comment on is you spend enough time out though, you'll know like, okay, I need to get something in front of these fish where they see it for 0.2 seconds. You know, they just have to make a decision, like a chatterbait or something like that. And then there's times you'll know, like, I'm trying to call this fish out of this lay down, or you know, whatever it may be. But
like
it's
that's
all
when
about just being
those
out there
choppy
and feeling
guys
it
work.
out case by case and not getting stuck in your ways with whatever you're doing.
Yeah. And you can the cool thing about the swim baits too is that like you can manipulate them in a way to get that fish to eat a lot of the time. It's just about putting yourself in a position to be able to make it happen. Like burning these things works really well. Like a lot of people think you need to work it on the slower side, but like a lot of times to trigger that strike, to trigger that reaction where, you know, they only have 0.2 seconds to make a decision as to whether they're going to hawk this thing down or not. Like I've been seeing it specifically with this bait, back to this wide glide and the rate of stall and whatnot. It's like I've noticed a lot of times, like you make a cast, you get it on the bank, you work it off of the bank slow. And a lot of times that slower retrieve will call them in from far, as opposed to you just casting it in there and working it off fast. Like they wouldn't have came out for the fast retrieve initially. Work it slow so that you get that interest. And then once you see them honing in on the bait, that's when you speed it up. And a lot of times you get them to make a decision. You can literally see the switch go off in their heads when you do that quick double kick, boop, boop, and they whether they actually, you know, go and mimic that movement or not will let you know whether you have a good chance of catching that fish. But it's all about how you present the bait, and you know, really about trying to put yourself in the best possible situation to succeed. It's one thing that I've been learning and conveying to a lot of my clients when I go out. It's like it's a good analogy for life too. It's like we get chances, we get opportunities to take advantage of, you know, certain things in life, and you know, sometimes we choke up, sometimes you get a little scared, sometimes, you know, life just might hit you blindside you,
Such many
and
cases.
you're not
Such
able
many
to take
cases.
advantage of that opportunity for whatever reason. But you can't give up. You gotta keep going and just, keep that in mind moving forward. That, like, if I ever find myself in a similar position, I'm gonna make sure that I try and do this, this, and this. Give myself enough room. Make sure I get that cash where it needs to be, as close to that structure or that bank as possible, and try and take full advantage of the next opportunity that I get.
Yeah. And that's what's been so much fun about filming all of these eats and filming this journey, because Kai and I almost come back like, NBA coaches after a game watching the tape. Like, that's really what it is. Because, and what's funny is these things happen so fast in real time that I can't even tell you how many times we'll have a miss on camera where I'm watching this fish trail it, and in my head I'm like, why did she turn off? What did I do? And then you see it. You see that one little moment, and in real time you wouldn't even notice what made that
But
fish
looking
turn
back.
off. But in 120 frames, slowed down and looked in like that, you can really see that stuff. And I think that has helped our game as well, just being able to have so many interactions and understand. So, like Kai said, for the next laydown, you try not to make the same mistake.
Yeah, I think the filming is actually a huge part in what's helped us, like, get a better understanding of this style of fishing. Because I think we kind of take it for granted. Like, not a lot of people have the ability to look back in HD 4K, like freaking DSLR camera, and see exactly, like, play for play, the cast you made, how you worked the bait, how the fish reacted to the bait, and just sit there and be able to analyze and observe that and see, oh, that's what I did wrong, that's what I did right to get her to trigger that strike. You know what I mean? Like, there's something very special about being able to just observe that, you know what I mean, in person and on film.
Yeah, so I guess like a continuation question on that. Freshwater versus saltwater. Like, there's so much information out there about how to catch largemouth bass on a glide. And then I feel like you get into brackish largemouth, tidal largemouth, things start to get a little bit muddied. Now we get into like the snook game, the snook mixed with big largemouth game, tarpon, etc., and things start to get a little bit more mysterious. Where I kind of wanted like start a bridge in this conversation, especially with Brendan on the line, between like, Eric and Kai, like you guys being out in the field and experiencing this, and Brendan as somebody who is building the tools that ULO is and company is using in these situations. Like, what are you, Eric and Kai, noticing in the field, and what do you feel like is maybe lacking in what is available from like a consumer or a fisherman's perspective, somebody who's not building glides? What do we need built to be more successful in these like very unique niche environments that you guys have been very successful in?
Well, I think the biggest thing that would resonate specifically for the saltier anglers would be durability. I think that's one of the biggest gaps when it comes to a lot of guys who might do more inshore fishing or just salty stuff in general when it comes to wanting to throw these bigger baits as opposed to bass guys. It's like, from what I've noticed, your average inshore guy or salty guy, like, they're not used to spending 30, 40 plus dollars, let alone $100 on a bait to just catch one fish or two fish. You know what I mean? So that's one thing, like with snooks, because a snook specifically will show you where your weak points are. If there's anything wrong with the bait, with the setup that you're using, with any of your terminal tackle, they're going to expose every weak point. So I think that's a big thing, like a bait that you could be able to go out there, like a lot of resin baits, but obviously something not as expensive, a little bit more attainable that you could put into people's hands. And that's where I think the soft glides kind of come into play. But I feel like there's still a lot of work to be done when it comes to soft glide game and keying in both on durability and the action aspect of things, because there's a lot of pros to a soft glide bait and a lot of pros to a hard glide bait, and there's a lot of cons to both as well. But I feel like and there's a lot of new ones out there that are kind of closing in on that gap, but I feel like there's still a lot to hone in on that front, and I feel like that would be a big filler in that space when it comes to getting more of the saltier inshore guys throwing these bigger baits. It's and affordability more than anything, for sure.
You know what I think is
Affordability,
something
durability.
missing? I think something missing from a lot of the saltwater glides is like a little ball inside, like almost like a knocker. You remember like when most of the Yozuri spooks, they have that little ball where you can hear like the shaking every single, even when I cast out super far, when I'm like really working that bait, I can hear it all the way back there. Whenever I'm working a glide, a lot of them are really quiet. Like especially, so this one I have right here is wood. It's very, very quiet. However, I've only caught one fish on this. I have another glide. I don't have it with me right now, but it has like a loose ball in it or something like that. And it kind of like I can hear it rattle a little bit sometimes. And that thing was drawing jacks from out of nowhere, snuck out of nowhere. Granted, they were small, but I think it could produce numbers if we were to have a glide that had some type of ball in it to where it can make some noise, almost like a spook.
I like
Like
that.
a knocker.
Yeah, right. Yeah, almost like a
I
knocker.
think a lot of ABS baits have knockers in them and rattles.
Yeah.
Does
Just-
ZRT?
No,
The
they
high
only
float
have
does.
They only have a Japan exclusive. It's a mid float, so it takes super. It's almost like a suspending, but it's
Damn,
like
I need that.
$150, $100, $200.
Cousin.
It's crazy.
I need
to go on
need
eBay.
Yeah.
mid flow. I need that. I only knew about the high and the low. They got a mid.
Yeah. Now the
shit.
one that I have, all of the ones that I have, I tune them to where they can mid float or they can suspend, but it takes a lot of time to do it. It takes a lot of time,
Yeah. it's
but
very
they do
tedious.
have a one knock.
Hey, chat. Has anyone caught on the R&R ladyfish yet? I've been seeing this go. I've been seeing this
Yo,
go
did they
around a
send
lot.
those to you?
Yeah, well, we just got.
Yeah, you're the only one that has one.
Haven't gotten to throw them yet. I'm just curious. I haven't thrown it yet. I don't know anything about it.
I wanted to throw that shit too,
I
bro.
wanna
Yeah,
throw
in
that.
PR.
Oh man.
yeah.
Oh god.
Bro.
I know. Honestly, I saw R&R. They hit us up, and I was like,
Yeah.
I didn't have time before I flew to PR, but I was like, oh shit, like,
Bro, he might send you something straight to PR.
He could,
bro.
yeah.
Send him
Well,
to hotel,
those
dude.
baits,
Good.
you know what
Hey.
I can appreciate? It's like, and here's the thing with like, this is the whole glide bait, swim bait culture in general. Like, I don't know where the balance is between investment and money in terms of like how things look and how creative they are versus like, do they actually work? And also like, where is the line between like, does it work or not in terms of like, well, how much effort was put into seeing if the bait works? Because, for example, like that ladyfish bait is a perfect example because you could take that bait and take it to somewhere that's highly pressured and fish it on the wrong moon or the wrong tide and fish it hard for 3 or 4 days and say, listen, this thing doesn't work. And someone else could take that thing to Gabon and catch a literal continental record. And that's what I think is super interesting just about this like glide swim bait culture in general is like how much of this is tied to conditions and effort versus like, does this thing just work on a consistent basis? And I feel like the answer is probably somewhere in the middle. But like, I look at something like that R&R. I've never thrown it. I'm like, I want to throw that. That's going to work somewhere. And I feel that way about a lot of quality baits. But like, I was just curious what you guys think of that. Like, is it these baits are good in every situation if they're good, or are they very condition dependent? Are they really as niche as it seems they could be?
I mean, I think conditions are always a factor, but I feel like a glide bait is. I'll go out on a limb and say a glide bait or a big swim bait in general, but specifically a glide bait, is going to give you interactions and bites that you would not get on 90% of other baits. I feel like in terms of just the drawing power, where fish will eat it, how far out they'll come to eat it, the way that they react to it. It's like they're not doing that with a paddle tail. You know what I mean? You're not going to get the same reaction out of a fish with a 5-inch paddle tail like you're going to get out of a glide bait.
You know when I've seen that with? This one right here. This is the sink gill, for those unaware, new Mayan cichlid color. Listen, what I've seen with this bait in particular, and this goes back to what Des was talking about a rattle, because this has a very similar effect to a chatterbait.
That thing.
Mm-hmm.
It does that under the water. You can hear it. Kai knows I do this with a glide a lot. I have a technique for the snook where I'll take my rod and I'll rip it. I'll rip that glide and it'll go, and then it'll stop. And I'll stop the rod tip and I'll kill it. And the thing goes, and then it has this natural little shimmy to it.
Yeah.
And that combined with that vibration, again, it's like you bring in this by a laydown versus a paddle tail. There's a lot of instances where that fish is going to come out for this, but not the paddle tail or many other baits that you're going to throw. So that drawing power is real.
I think the closest second is top water. Of
like is yours
of any kind, really. But
and,
like
and even that, like a quality top water, like it gives you that almost like we were talking about that rate of retrieve. Like a high quality top water is giving you 5 or 6 movements and only going 6 or 7 inches. So like you can really focus on that high impact zone, but have 6 or 7 different movements and points of contact for that fish to come out, instead of like running a swim bait, like it's only got a half second to react. You're giving it 7 different points of like, I have to make a decision, eat or not. And like, that's where I feel like when I see these videos and when you guys film these slow motion eats, it's like, that's what you see in those videos and those slow motion times. It's like, it's not always hitting on that first turn, that second turn, that third turn, but it's in that 6-inch strike zone. And you're giving it like, at some point it's like, fuck, I can't resist it anymore. And that's what's so exciting about the glides, and like, just how you guys have slowed it down and fished like a specific zone with them. It's just exciting, man. But real quick, what I want to get into too, now that we're like an hour in, like we got Brendan on the line. Brendan's like a bait maker. Desmond, you've thrown glides forever. Kai and Eric, you guys have seen so many different things in this culture. We talked a little bit about like what's missing from like a saltwater glide. But let's like if we were to build a hypothetical glide bait, like you had one glide you could throw to catch a 40, Kai, for example, what would that glide look like? And like Brendan, as we describe what this glide might look like how would you feel passionate about like producing this sort of glide? It's the conversation I'd be interested in.
Well, I think it would definitely be like a cichlid or gill profile more than anything, with the style of fishing that we do most when it comes to the snook, because that's what they're eating more than anything in those backwaters is the cichlids and tilapia and bluegills when they can find them. I think more of like a tilapia as a whole is a good base. That profile within itself, something that you can obviously you want to be able to chop it and work it quickly, like something that you could work quickly and it's going to stay stable. It's not going to be all wonky and go nose down or
None of
nose
this.
up, like very, yeah, not a bunch of
That's what you
wobble,
want.
like very, very tight. You know what I mean? Kind of like, have you seen the action of a trick gill? Like the
I
Buddhist
had one.
gill? Yeah, like
Mhm.
very, very similar to that, but not as bulky.
Yeah,
A little
you
bit
know what?
on the leaner side, like a
Leaner.
metro.
I was just gonna say that we've noticed that leaner profile is really for whatever reason, for the snook and the salty species. The lean profile on that style of glide seems to rule. So if you could do a leaner tilapia, that would be interesting. Like a little gill
Like
tilapia.
yeah, like something similar to how the throwback metro sets up, but a taller, shorter profile almost.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like that's 7 inches, like 6.5. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like a
I get
little
what you're
bigger
saying.
than this.
Right. And
Yeah.
now one thing I have to ask: what does it do in the water? What is the goal? What is
Okay,
what does the
so
snook
all right,
like? Do
so
they
I
like a tight
almost
action?
yeah, I don't know. Well, I just had this just off the rip in my head. I'm like thinking there's the three-piece gill, like that style where it kind of snakes along is out there, but is there a
Mhm.
gill that is shaped like this but acts like a metro where you can chop it like a
So
resin glide, like a like
there
a
Be able to
is.
chop it,
yeah, you
swim
get
There
what
it.
I'm
is.
saying?
You know what I mean?
Like
Swim
it
it
works
nice
like
state.
I would
So
want it to work like a more like a traditional, like a glide, not a wide glide but like a chop style
like a
glide,
choppy glide.
one that I could still
There
rate
is.
of stall, because
Yeah.
that's the thing, like this bait, it's situational because this is not a bait that you can really rate of stall. It sinks and it has the shimmy, so you're going for active fish with this. Sometimes cold water, whatever, what have you, you want that rate of stall. You want to be able to just chop and let that thing sit right on the lay down. So maybe we kind of play off of the effectiveness of the profile and go for something that we can slow down a little bit.
I think a
combined with
V
that.
joint. I think a V joint, but with a little bit more play, a little bit more of an angle, so you can still chop it tight, but on those longer winds of the reel, you get that thing to go out and
Mhm.
glide out, 3-4 feet to the left, glide out 3-4 feet to the right, and then tighten it back up again. You know what I mean? And
There's
still be able
actually
to
a
keep
concept
a
bait.
steady swim. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's
You have
actually a
both. You have the
concept
best
bait
of
out
both
there.
worlds. You have that tight swim and you have the wider glide. And I do a flat. The joint's flat on the head piece and it's rounded off on this piece. So that's how I normally do my joints. So it's super easy to get either swim out of that same joint
Yeah,
while it's
I
still
want to
being
bring.
durable.
I want to bring
Because
this
if
up
you have
too.
a go
I'm
ahead. Sorry.
also a fan of the one piece knockers as well. If we
The
want-
European style.
Yeah,
glides,
like
yeah.
like
Mhm.
that
The musky
profile.
type of
Because I've
glides.
seen the way some of them one piece chop, and it's
Yeah.
very interesting. And not as many people throw those either.
Yeah. If there was a way to make like because usually they're just like a piece of wood, like like a kind of odd shaped, a gill shaped piece of
Right.
wood. But if you could get that same action that you get out of them with a more realistic profile, like actually make that thing look like a bluegill with the fins, and I don't know if the fins would
Right.
affect the walk of it, but I
Mhm.
think
It
that
might
would be
affect the
really
actual
cool
pushing
too.
of water. However, there is a concept
pushing
out
of it.
there
Because it's
where
just like
there's a
it's
bait.
like a subsurface spook, essentially.
Mhm.
Those
Yeah.
one piece glides.
The only trouble I think it would be, since it's a taller profile, it especially with like these shad profiles that I fish now, they can tend to turn over a little bit when worked too sudden. However, there's a solution to this. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with 86 baits. There's a if there's a certain bait from them. I think it's called the Dead Ringer, and they brought a new concept to the market where it's a glide bait. However, there's one singular. It's like a piece of plastic or something like that. You can literally take it out, and it turns into a 3-piece swimmer. And I think that's what's missing from the industry, because a lot of times I own swimmers and glides, and they both have their time and place, especially when it comes to where exactly you're fishing, especially in Florida. I just fished South Florida. There were these deep pits of just nothingness, and I was fishing glides, and they loved them. But then when I was fishing back in Tampa, there were these weed lines where they didn't want a glide; they wanted a multi-jointed bait to just rip across. And I think that's where that multi-joint, where you can add a spacer into it to turn it into a glide. I'll even use the ghost as an example.
Yeah, that's super.
The
That's-
ghost, you
that's an
can literally
interesting
take
point,
out
dude.
the spacer. The ghost, you can take out a spacer and you can add it in there to where it glides. This is fully locked up and it glides, but then you can also take it out and it fully swims around. So you can
That's
turn
an
it
interesting
from
concept.
a mullet glide to a mullet swimmer where it's like shooting across. Like earlier today, I was fishing this at a spillway and it was just swimming across like almost like an escaping mullet. And I think that's what's missing, if I'm being honest. Not only that, but swiveling hook hangers. I cannot tell you how many times I've lost a snook, a bass, even like a good bass, off of just swiveling hook hangers that either detach. I'm not going to say any brand names because we want to be friendly to everyone, but a couple brand names where the swiveling hook hangers are just fully detaching out. We need some better grade. We need some better grade swivels on there. You know what I mean?
I like this.
Durability.
Yeah, durability.
Durability. I don't want my baits exploding $75 down the drain after one singular snook. No, I want to be able to run that thing to the ground. I want Porsche quality for Porsche pockets, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, no, I think some of these bait makers, in the past, here's the thing, like we all know big bait fishing for whatever reason, and I'm glad that things are seeming to start to get a little more wide open, but big bait fishing has largely been a bass concept for a long time, and now that all this stuff is happening, it's funny because you see a lot of these bait makers are saying like, "Oh yeah, no, mine's rated for the salt, mine's rated for big fish,"
And then it explodes.
You get it around 40.
Yeah. All those
And I think
quarters you
there's
kind
an
of start to
irony
show.
to that too. Like as someone who went I went to Babson College, and like all they talk about at Babson is like business and return on investment. And like one thing I think about with these glides is like, and just fishing in general with like baits, it's like, what is your cost per fish, right? And like my thing when you take glides and you think about them in like a bass concept, I'm like, okay, I understand. Like, let's say this glide puts you in position to catch an 8-pounder as opposed to a 6-pounder. Like, okay, you can make that argument. But what I've seen you guys do specifically is like these glides put you in position to catch a 42-inch snook on a regular basis versus no snook at all. So it's like, what's the cost per fish for each of these glides that you're using? And when we restrict ourselves to like a bass only environment, I honestly don't think these baits are really like honestly worth the money. Because I'm looking at this like, yo, I see like, okay, you caught a 9-pounder, but I've caught an 8 on a $6 frog or like a $5 chatterbait. But when I see, holy smokes, like you caught a 42, 43-inch snook on this glide, and the best I've done on artificial is a 32, 33, like slightly above slot. Or I absolutely grind it out on live bait on a pier for 4 nights in a row. Like that's a whole different selling point. And that's like an untapped part of the market that like I've seen you guys really tap into. And like, I don't know, I just wanted to throw that idea out there. Like almost that like cost per fish, because I feel like people look at glide baits and say, oh, that's like a fucking bougie market because bass guys do it, and I catch 6-pounders anyway. I look at that and I say, you're right. But then I look at like what you guys are doing inshore, and I'm like, but you're not doing that without these tools. So, anyways,
It's like a Porsche to a Toyota Camry. They both can get on a track. However, a Porsche is going to rip that track like you've never seen. It's going to change the way you think about a lot of racing. However, if you get in that Toyota Corolla
Right.
or that Toyota Camry,
Yeah, Johnny, it's funny, man. I'll not just never forget it. It's like I think people have this feeling too with big baits. You know, it's like they look at it and they're like, "Will something really eat a bait that big?"
yes.
But then you look at a 42-inch snook. You look at the mouth,
and you're like, how the hell did it get that big in the
That's
first
the
place?
only
right?
thing they're gonna eat.
They're eating. That's the only thing they're eating.
That's the only thing they're gonna eat, unless you put a freaking live fish in their face.
But no, I think that's a great point. I think for me, you know, I grew up in the bass culture, mostly in New Jersey, and I was around big baits a lot. You know, it's funny, we knew this guy Carl, Keeping It Real Fishing. He's still around, he still posts. Awesome dude.
Carl.
He, back in 2012, I believe, on YouTube, was the first person I saw. He made a whole thing on his page. He was like, I'm only going to throw big baits all year in New Jersey. And I remember I looked at him at the time like, you are absolutely insane. And I still almost feel like that because when I was in New Jersey, I caught all my big fish by finesse fishing, by throwing light line and fooling them that way. There's like two different approaches with that. But I looked at what you're saying, Johnny, like the cost of like how many casts are you making to get that 6? Now, here's the thing, like we came down here, even for the bass, it's so different because it's like, my God, man, like when an 8+ eats the Glide, it's like, and it's funny. They're fewer and far between, and you know, the Glide does calm out. But yeah, I think it is funny in general how these baits, like especially, you know, some of these new ones that have been coming out, they're 10-inch baits with these massive treble hooks, and they're being marketed for largemouth. And then people go and they throw them for largemouth, and they make videos complaining about how they're not hooking the largemouth. Like, yeah, no shit, dude. It's a fucking 12X. Look at that
Dude,
hook.
it's like there's only a certain amount of lakes and reservoirs.
You have a 4X treble hook for bass.
Yeah, I know. I know you didn't hook that fish.
I actually am throwing 4.
No. Those river bass, bro. River bass are like
no. Look, that's a tiny hook though. It's a tiny hook.
No.
Those
River
are
bass
tiny
versus
hooks,
pond
but that's
bass,
the
bro.
point.
But we might need a visual reference here. Hang on one second.
Yeah. Nah. Take it from me, bro.
Tiny hooks do hook 'em.
Fish pond bass a lot. River bass hit like freaking criminals. They hit like they got something to do.
I'm tired of bending out hooks on bass. Let alone
Well, the thing is,
I'm
like,
knocking them both out with one stroke.
we went in like as like a ULO crew. I would say like, all right, we came down to Florida. Everybody had caught their 5, 6, 7-pounder, and then you know you fish ponds, you fish off a boat, and I personally haven't caught a 10. I'm not gonna like lie, but like everybody's caught. Everybody's caught close to or above a 10, and there's a point where you're like, is bass fishing even fun anymore? And then you go out on a river, and all I'm gonna say is like a river largemouth deep in Florida. It might as well be like an entirely different species.
They're like little felons.
It is not the same as a largemouth. Like, I want to know your PB largemouth, and then I want to know your PB backwater river largemouth, because those are two very different numbers. Those are very different species. Those are very different experiences. And, like, listen, as somebody who's not on the same level as Eric and Kai with the glides in the rivers, I can say genuinely, you throw me a fucking big bass boat and a bunch of fucking $5 baits, I could go out and drag a worm and catch a 10-pounder in Florida in the next couple of weeks, especially pre-spawn and spawn. If you're
Word,
telling me
word.
go deep on the river game with a kayak and 1 or 2 combos, no, I cannot keep
not
up with
happening.
these
It's
guys.
not
And
happening.
the only way to keep up with these guys is gliding the way that they're gliding. And they've proven that over the last couple of years. But the thing about it is like what makes it fun is that your opportunity is not just a 10-pound largemouth, it's a 40-inch snook. It's a 50-pound tarpon. And like,
12-pound
how do you
bowfin.
have a bait that can attract all of those species? The hardware can handle all of those species, but also it's finesse enough to like extract that bite in 3, 4, 5 feet of clear crystal spring winter water when things have been cold. And it's just such a dynamic ecosystem that you guys have tapped into. It gets me like pumped just talking about it. 'Cause, like, it's
does.
fucking tough, man.
Yeah, it's
And,
been
like,
cool, man.
Really,
The
like,
farther down Florida you get into like those freshwater Goliaths too, like that kind of just for some reason just get up in there. I've seen people catch Goliaths on freshwater fishing lures, and I'm like, bro, no way you didn't have like anything
Yeah.
under a 3x. No way you didn't have anything under 3x.
No,
And-
yeah. The
And-
the big bait versus also being finesse is such an interesting point. And I shameless plug is what listen. They did a good job over at Berkeley with this one, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like it's the soft element of it because it's a 10-inch bait, but it snakes through the water. Subtle. You know, it has that nice balance that Johnny was talking about. But at the same time, like I said, it's like I mean, what are we talking about here? This should be we should be fighting whales with this, you know. And I'm serious. Like so, this braid here, whatever material they have for this does not braid.
It's like
It
a
doesn't braid.
paracord or something.
But,
Or like a Kevlar.
look at the size of these hooks. You know, I'm not throwing that for a bass. You're not gonna get them. You'll hook like 1 out of 5, dude.
Unless you're throwing fucking 8'6" extra heavy.
The musky
hard to
rods
replace
suck,
that
bro.
big.
Musky rods suck. That's a musky rod, bro.
So
No, real shit.
yeah, so like while we got the whole group on and Brendan on, like let's go over like, hey, what's the ULO dream bait? Like we got one bait to fish this brackish, like Mayaca River, like I'm not gonna get too much more detail than what I just said, but like that,
Yeah, that was a big one. Holy
Don't give out the spot.
like
Nah, if they don't know how to fish it, they don't know how to
My-
fish it. If
my-
they don't know how to fish
you
it.
know,
Good luck.
like,
Good luck.
Exactly.
like,
Exactly. If they don't got that grind
that
set.
like holy smokes, we're combining so many universes bait. Like Florida, we can handle 100-pound tarpon, but we can attract a 3-pound largemouth that might call a tough tournament. What's that bait looking like? You know, like we got one glide on our fucking rod. Cause here's the thing, like what I feel like a lot of people need to understand about ULO, and I feel like a lot of people already do, is there's a couple styles to fishing, but one of the ways we've really gone out and fished is like, hey, we're gonna go explore water with one rod and whatever we can carry in our pockets. And typically that rod up until today has been like a medium heavy 4K inshore rod with an 1/8 ounce jig head to a 1/2 ounce jig head and whatever can fit in that range. And we've expanded that to the glide bait culture. So now we've got 2 rods out with us at any given time. But realistically,
And one if
that's
you're really
like the
about it.
profile. And
If you're really about it, just one. 2.
because there's a balance between being super technical with what we're throwing and what gear we have versus like how far and how deep can you go into what nature has to provide and what nature is offering, and can you challenge yourself to find fish and to find water that other people haven't, so that these fish will bite anything you throw at them. There's a balance to all of that. And it's not guaranteed that just because you went super deep, that these fish are all of a sudden stupid and are going to bite anything. That's not guaranteed. But there's also an element to overthinking these things and like being super technical, but never going deep enough into the natural world to challenge yourself physically. And like, now we're overcomplicating things all of a sudden because these fish have seen 150 different lures and we're not going deep enough to like challenge those fish. So like, there's a balance there. I guess like what I'm curious is like, how do we balance
It's
that?
everybody's perfect glide.
And like, where's the balance there? And like, what would the ideal, like, I'm on an island, here's my glide bait lure look like?
Wow, man, that's such a tough question.
Buka trick gill for me. Buka trick gill.
Yeah, wait, can we name?
And
can
I'm
we
putting
name
the
a
spacer
known
in
one?
it.
Wait, I think we might have to start by naming a known one. What we would pick for if we had to choose one. That might be actually a good place to start because at the end of the day, listen, one thing about lure making, glide baits, no exception. Art is no exception. We're all taking inspiration from other places. We know how the lure game works in the fishing industry, right? So maybe this will help jog memory. Mine, I gotta say, to be totally honest with you, mine would be a Metro. Mine would be a Metro Larry Cichlid color. The reason I say that, the Metro, to me, is like kind of the best of all worlds. Like that bait, I can burn it as fast as possible. It will not blow out. I can chop it. I can glide it to where it kind of goes wide. Doesn't go as wide as say that Buka, the wide glide, but it definitely does stall and it'll sit there real nice if it's weighted correctly. So to me, and I feel like it's the perfect size where big fish will be attracted to it. Little fish won't shy away from it. So that's what if there's like the one on the island glide, I'm looking for one that is really all around in that sense, you know. The Metro does it for me.
Yeah, I probably have to go with this thing. I was gonna say a trick shad, but as I've played around more with the V joint, it's just a lot more natural. The trick shad has a natural swim to it too, depending on how you have the joint tuned. Like if you've ever watched like an actual gizzard shad swim, like it's very similar. They have a really cool video on their page of like a tank with gizzard shads and then he's swimming the bait through the live gizzard shads and you can see like the actual mimicking of the action. So I like the fact that it has a real kind of natural swim. It's not too erratic when I go to like burn it or just a steady retrieve, but I have the ability to really get this thing to do what I want it to do. Like I could make it chop. I could make it like truly wide glide. You know what I mean? With just pulling out the pin and tightening that hinge a little bit. If I wanted to get a little choppier, I just open it up. And I feel like the ability to modify your bait in that nature to kind of get the action that you want, depending on the circumstances that you're in, is a really cool feature. It's not something that you can do with everybody's baits. Like the Metros, you can't really tune the hinge like that. I know some people who've played around with some things and tried.
I know what you're talking about.
It's not easy. It's not made to be easy. You know what I mean? Same thing with like a Depths or you know some of these other baits. Like some of them are not as tune friendly as others, which I feel like the deeper you get into it, that becomes a good factor. Because you know I don't use snaps. I don't use the quick retying things. Like I'm retying, and you don't want to constantly have to be retying, trying to figure out exactly what action they want. And that's another reason why I think the DRT baits are really cool too. The tunability of them, you'd be able to turn it into a different bait or get a different cadence or action out of it depending on the circumstances. I think that's really cool aspect of swim bait fishing.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Now, the
Definitely.
man himself, what bait are you taking for the perfect river bait?
Yeah, that's a good question. So just to solidify this, like Brendan, like as a bait maker, what's the balance of taking inspiration from things that do work versus like I want to make sure I'm putting my own spirit into this bait, and how does that look?
Mhm. Well, my thing is I'll go ahead and answer the one question first, and then I'll answer that one. But I would say my one bait, I'm gonna pick two. One is mine, and one is somebody else's, because that's kind of hard to. Am I allowed to do that? Am I allowed to do?
Yes.
Yeah.
You're allowed to do
Okay.
whatever
You do whatever you
All
want.
right.
You do whatever you
You
want.
better
is-
pick
it is too
yourself,
hard.
too.
Because one bait does something different that the other bait doesn't. So my bait that somebody else makes is the Tato 7-inch. That is by far one of the best glide baits ever made. It is the perfect bait for basically any situation, and it is it like I like to fish it fast, like burning it. That's pretty much all I do with most glide baits is just burning them. So that's the one that somebody else makes. And then the other one would be my 6.5-inch herring style glide, because you can change it to where you can get it to wide glide, or you can chop it, or you can work it on top like a spook. So it has all three of those different things that you can do with it. And then you can also make it sink or like suspend or whatever, but it comes stock floating. So you have all those different things in that one bait, and then you have the Tato. Those are the two that I would pick. If I was stranded on an island and there was a river on this island and there was big bass in it. And then as far as drawing inspiration, I try not to look at anybody else's stuff. I try to do my own thing. And I like, there's a few people I know, like you guys mentioned, 86 Baits, Matt Hom, super great guy. I like him. Josh, I like him too. Those, like, I follow a few guys and I chat with them, and like, I like those guys and I like their baits. So I keep up with them and help, support them and stuff like that. And, like buy baits every once in a while, like, because I like those people. So I'll follow those people that I know. But I don't try to draw inspiration from other people, because then at that point I'm going and taking a part of somebody's idea that they came up with and putting it into my own thing. Even if I twist it around, it's still not my thing. If you guys get what I'm saying, I want it to be 100% my kind of thing.
It's
Yeah.
hard. It's hard, and it's hard when you consume. So for me, I kind of almost actively don't watch a lot of fishing stuff on social media, just because I like to not know what's out there, because then it has no influence in what I'm doing out there. And the thing is, if you watch it, or if you're looking at these baits, whether you even realize it or not, it tends to bleed into it in certain ways, and sometimes that's not a bad thing. Paying homage or taking inspiration in art or bait making or anything in life can be a great thing. It could be a form of flattery to the person that
Right.
you're taking the inspiration from. But I also feel the element of wanting to create your own, and that's in times like this, it's hard because so much is out there, right? Like there's so many bait makers out there. There's so much you could see. If you wanted to, you could go look at 100 guys custom swim baits tomorrow. So I respect
Everyone's
your
making a
approach
choppy
of
glider right now.
trying
Everyone
to
wants to make a
stay
choppy
away from that somewhat, just on the sense that, hey, I want to just come up with my own unique ideas and not have them be clouded by anything.
I heard somebody say
Exactly.
that a musician, he doesn't listen to. I think it was Miles Davis. He's like he didn't listen to anyone else's music because he didn't want to be influenced by anyone else's sound. It's like, if you want to be a great artist, he's like, great artists don't listen to much music.
You know what,
other
Kai?
people, or even their own music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that's how you attain an original sound. You know what I mean?
So
Right.
this is
feel
like
like
a
it's coming from
stupid
your own
anecdote, and like maybe like I don't know. We've gone crazy enough on this podcast so far where like this won't be so crazy.
No,
But like
no.
with the music thing. I actually was thinking about this last night, because like I was trying to move around more and like go on some runs and listen to some music, because like where I'm at in Long Island is a frozen tundra right now.
Yeah.
And all right, so this sounds stupid, but like there was this idea. All right, so on my playlist, The Weeknd came on, and it was Blinding Lights. You know that obviously everyone knows the song by The Weeknd. It's like probably like the most played song on Spotify. And the point being, though, it's like a very simple beat, like dun 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 dun. Anyways, I remember I had an experience once at a club once in Sweden once where I heard this song and I didn't recognize it, even though I had heard it 100 other times, and was like, this song means nothing to me. And all of a sudden it was like, holy smokes, this is the most impactful song I've ever heard. And it just reminded me of what you just said, in the sense of like, there's like a cadence and like a rhythm to things that work and things that are successful in like, and I guess it goes back to this glide bait thing, in like a beat and a rhythm into things that like, I don't know if we can totally just explain them on a podcast, or if you can just go out and experience them. And I can't tell you there's a reason why a snook reacts this way. There's a reason why a bass reacts this way. What I can tell you is that they do. And like, it's music reminds me of that in general, in just the sense of like, hey, like when we hear like a Michael Jackson song, why is it that we all love it? Why is it that we all react to it? I don't really know, but I can tell you that we do. And it's that sort of cadence and that sort of rhythm that like, there's something about that with what we're talking about with the glide baits and with the
Johnny, we made that analogy.
We have in
So-
Uncle Larry's University, which we filmed yesterday, first annual episode. We talked about the beat of life in relation to the beat of glide bait fishing, and now I'll take it even a step further. It's amazing to see how when you combine those two things, the visual glide bait and the rhythm of the glide and the rhythm of the right song, the effect that it has on you when you watch it, it's nothing short of magic. Like, that's the only way I can describe it. You know, it's like a magical thing that happens when all of those synchronicities come together, all of those frequencies come together. And really everything's to a beat in life. It really is, you know, everything's to a rhythm.
And think about
So-
fish and like how they eat. We talk about these cadences and these rhythms, and you know, like when I'm describing to clients like how they need to work a glide bait, like I'm doing it the same way you would do like a beat or a note. Like you need to be working that thing 1 2 3, 1 1 2 1 2 3. You know what I mean? And it's the same. It's something that you could compare to the same way that we listen to music, because we listen to music with our ears. We're hearing it with that sense, and then you're also feeling something internally. A fish is visually seeing your glide bait moving, but it's also feeling it with the lateral line. It's feeling that water.
All that
It's
water
feeling
being
those
pushed around.
vibrations. It's feeling that. So
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's
cool.
frequencies, man. Maybe
really
this
cool.
is this.
So-
we need to see if this is in the Epstein files. Maybe
I got a
Or
question.
maybe
Times they
something.
mention frequency.
I got a question. What's everyone's least favorite glide? I'm gonna go first.
Oh no!
least
Oh,
favorite
Depths,
there's a
glide.
lot.
Least favorite
There's a
glide.
lot.
Let's get messy. Mine
ones that
is the
don't
depths
work.
175. Depths.
The
I
depth's
don't know what you
175.
Yes. I don't know what
I
you guys
can
got
see
going
that.
on with that thing, but it does not chop. However, it does not glide wide either. It just sits there and just like
And it sinks pretty fast too,
Bro, it
from what
sinks
I've
like a
seen.
rock. It sinks
Yeah.
like a rock.
I've noticed that. That
This is no
250
bad
nice.
blood to any company. By the way, any company that's watching this is no bad blood. These are just critiques from Glidin experts. Take lightly.
No, I mean it's all fair, right? Like,
Yeah, it's all
Yeah.
fair game.
My least favorite glide. I gotta say that soft shine glide. Savage.
You don't like
that
the
thing.
soft shine glide?
Nah, man, that thing looks like a wet sock in the water. Unfortunately, that's my personal opinion.
One thing also to add to that beat kind of thing that you guys were talking about with fish,
Yeah.
and how it relates to a lot of other things. What if we can figure out the rhythm in which neurons are firing in their brain, and find that rhythm and reel the bait to
well,
that rhythm?
well, Brendan,
What if that
so
does
like,
something?
not
That's
to cut
going
you
way
off,
off to the weird end.
No, Brendan, I like
but
that.
this is what we were talking about before, and this is kind of what I was trying to get at with my questions before, as like, admittingly, like, I don't know how fish react. My point more so was like, we don't understand how fish react. How do we take what does work, accept that it does work, and then create like a product or a glide around how they react? Not how we think they should react, but how they actually do react. And we don't get that from biologists. We get that information from fishermen. And that's kind of what I think, like, that's where I think there's a gap. Both, like,
I think it depends on water temperature, if I'm being honest. Water temperature and season.
My point being, though, like, listen, like Kai's been out there throwing a glide in every situation from 95-degree water temps to 45-degree water temps in Florida. Like, what works and what are the constraints, and how do we take those constraints, make those into like an effective product moving forward, I guess. That's like a question I've got, in a sense.
Fishing every day.
Well, there's no magic. There's no magic glide that works in every single scenario. But what I would say to that is that I think, based on what everyone was saying about their favorite picks, I think it has to be something that both combines a size that fish will both eat in adverse and conditions when they're on fire, and then also some level of tunability or customization to where you can fish it in different scenarios, whether that be its sink rate, whether that be putting a bill on it, whether that be the joint, something like that. Something that makes it a little bit more versatile than just a glide the way it is. Those are my two takeaways. Something accessible size-wise, and something that has some level of tunability.
It sounds like everybody's kind of saying either like the K9 or something between that, like 9-inch glide bait type of thing. So whether it's the Fish Everything 9 or the Taxi Shad 9, the K9, the Retro CT, that's an underrated one. I feel like not enough people talk about the Retro CT, how good of a freaking bait that is. It doesn't sink like a rock like the old Retro does. And it just like, that thing is good.
That's got a nice rate of stall too, that thing.
That thing is good, bro.
So I'm curious, like, all right, we got rate of stall, rate of rate of like sink, and color. Profile and color. I was like 4 variables. Like, how would we rank those?
And
color
noise
too.
People don't talk enough about noise.
Okay, and noise. So profile, color, noise, rate of sink, rate of stall.
All right. Color at the bottom. I'll start that right off. Because first of all, you have to, second of all, you don't even listen. All right, so if you want a spectrum, profile and color at opposite ends of the spectrum.
Okay.
Profile is everything, color is next to nothing. That's
I
my
agree
opinion
with
with
that,
the
actually.
glides from what I've seen.
I think we gotta
Okay.
throw. I think we gotta throw like action in there too. Like we're talking about like the rate of stall, but I think
Action is
like
definitely like number 2 or
like
something.
yeah, because the action varies so much from bait to bait. Like, do you want a quick snappy bait, or do you want something that you're going to work a little slower and wind it out? You're gonna get it to glide out 5-6 feet to the right, and it's not going to chop. So
Right.
that's a factor as well, and I think that one kind of is a little bit more towards the profile side of things, for sure. I'd probably say it's hard to
It's
list
hard.
them from
It
most
is.
important to
I feel like
least
it's case by
important.
case.
Yeah, it
Right.
really is.
Because, like,
One-
by me, there's this one spot that we have in Land O'Lakes. Me and everybody else in Tampa, you guys know, but nobody else knows them. We all fish the same swim bait spot. It comes down to the noise at certain points because of the fact that we all fish these big glides, these big shad glides, these big profiles. But some of them are just so much more quieter than others when they're moving on their hinge because maybe they're a little bit crooked after a couple of catches, or maybe they're completely silent because I don't know, there's a little bit of foam protecting it. It's all case by case. But then in a river where there's current flowing, that noise don't matter because it's a bunch of water flowing. That profile is what matters, or that rate of stall is what matters in that scenario. I feel like it's all case by case. You guys have fished the river more than I have, so you guys can speak to this a little bit more. So I'd love to hear your thoughts, though.
I mean, fishing in a river is definitely different than fishing in a lake or a pond.
Yeah.
Like when you're dealing with current and moving water, let alone like tides, like tidal places, because like you can have current and it not be like there's rivers around here that are not tidal after a certain point because of other factors like springs. You know what I mean? Springs are gushing water out, and it's like mini rapids and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like you're dealing with some pretty serious current, and I think the fish, it's like fishing in a river specifically, like you really gotta be able to take advantage of the opportunities that present themselves, because I feel like you run into a lot of like one and done scenarios. So you really need that thing to be able to like be stable and hold steady
You get that one
against
chance.
that current or going down current. You know what I mean? Because that moving water is constantly engaging this bait. Like there's never a point when you're fishing a lot of the rivers that we're fishing, at least, where this thing is not moving. You know what I mean? As opposed to in a lake or a pond, you can kind of get a pause out of it for a little bit longer, keep it in a spot for a little bit longer.
You can just throw it back in the pond. They'll be there. In the river, it's different. Like you get that
They're
one out of
moving
1,000
through.
chance.
And this
Yeah.
was something that we were talking about in the video too. It's like try to make analogies for fishing to make things a little bit more understandable for people and how they move. It's like where do you find fish in a river? A lot of people ask, and it's like you kind of got to think about how people move too. Like I like to compare rivers to roadways or highways. Like there's a lot of points on a river that you're just going to be passing through, and the fish are doing the same thing, just like on a highway. Like nobody's stopping on a highway unless something's wrong. Like you're moving
Listen to the
through, you're
trooper.
on your way somewhere, but you get off the exit and you go over to the 7-Eleven in the bend, and you got the shopping plaza over there. Oh, that's where people are congregating at. Oh, there's a neighborhood over there behind the plaza. People live there. It's like the same thing for a lot of these bends and these deeper holes and stuff in the river. Like, okay, that's where I need to look if I want to find people. I can't be on the highway. Like, no, I might see some fish, you know, as I'm going through here, but this is not where these fish are congregating. They're just passing through the same way we're just passing through. And like, when you think of it like that, it's a little bit easier to like pick apart rivers specifically from my experience.
Yeah, fish are like, they're so similar to people in so many ways. Like the majority of people are lazy. Fish are lazy. They don't want to be in that heavy current. They want to be sitting up in the pool eating donuts. It's like, and same goes for weather. Think about when it's 95 degrees out. Where do you find the bass? You're going to find them out there in the sun? No, you're going to find them in the shade, under the dove. Where are you going to find us? You're going to find us out there just staring at the sun? You're going to find us in our houses, in the air conditioning.
Mhm.
It's all the same. When you start breaking it down like that, like Kai said, you know, it becomes very... It's
And
way
then,
easier to
yeah, and
understand.
like it's like when are we most active? Like historically, as a species, like spring and fall. Like, all right, the spring, it's not too cold, not too hot. Let me get a bunch of work done. And then, you know, in
Prepare
the
for the
fall,
winter.
it's not too hot, not too cold. Let me get a bunch of work done before it gets too hot or before it gets too cold. Like, we overcomplicate these things in a sense. And that's where like the glide bait culture gets interesting, because it's such an interesting balance to me, like overcomplicating things versus like, let's keep it super simple. And honestly, I feel like when I see you guys throwing the glides most effectively, it's right in the middle. It's like, hey, this is a time of year and an opportunity where it makes the most sense, but it's also like it's the biggest opportunity. Like one bite gets you the most calories. It's the biggest profile. It makes sense. They want to chase this and that they want to eat this. And then same thing, like it's about to get cold. They're going to get desperate. Most calories for the most effort. Let's eat the glide. Like, big baits make sense during the times of year that they make sense to like fish them. It's just a matter of like, and I'm speaking like against myself as well right now, not being intimidated to go out there and frickin' do it. I feel like is a big thing.
Oh yeah.
And like the times of year, like midsummer and midwinter, when like you might think it's like the peak to do it, it's actually like ironically the times not to do it. Like midsummer, it's hot, I'm lazy, go finesse. Midwinter, I'm cold, I'm lazy, go finesse. When things are peak, throw peak big things. Catch the biggest things you can. They're eating then.
A big swim bait, like a big swim bait arsenal, evenly placed, can replace an entire conventional tackle box. Hot take, I know, but
it can.
Soft baits can replace jigs in the summer or a bottom bouncing bait. People don't talk about that enough. You can replace. I don't even own conventional baits. The chatterbait that I bought for my unemployment is the only conventional bait I own. All I have.
That's pretty sick.
All I have are just big baits. 8, 9, 7-inch, even like a 10-inch mag draft at this point, but just soft baits. And then these like the Ghost, you can put a diving lip on it to make it almost like a pig or almost like a deep diving crankbait. You can, if you have enough cojones, you can throw a big bait all times of the year. You just got to commit to it. And I think that's a difference that Kai and Eric and Johnny have seen this year, along with Brendan, is that they're committing to it. A lot of people, pardon my French, but they kind of pussy out. Like, I'll throw this for 2 or 3
No,
casts.
I'll put myself in that category, honestly, Desmond. Like, yeah, I've seen Kai and Eric throw it and throw it and throw it and wait.
You just
for
gotta
that
commit,
fish to come
bro.
out.
You gotta commit. You gotta be okay with you can't be afraid of skunks. Fun fact: the owl has no olfactory senses. Therefore, they're unafraid of skunks.
Damn.
Be like an owl.
I love
be
that.
wise. You know what I mean? Therefore, when you guys are going down the river, just for anybody watching, think about it like this. And I know a lot of us think about it. At least I think about it. Think about it like, all right, this place looks like an ambush point. Think about it in everyday things, and it'll get easier when you get on the river. For me, I think about it when I'm driving on the highway. Whenever I'm driving on the highway, I think, a state trooper could pull me over right here if I was speeding. Take that to the river. It's basically a water highway. Whenever you're on a highway or a river, think like, okay, this little point right here, I can see a snook like ambushing a little freaking mullet right here. Yeah, I'm gonna throw my Buka bullshit, and I'm gonna wake it right here, and then I'm gonna slow it down right at this little ambush point. But you have to commit. Another thing too that people don't do is they don't focus on the little things. I'm guilty of this, focusing on the terminal tackle, the line, the split rings, if you do it, just everything, even down to the just overall noise of you guys do, kayak fishing, even down to the noise of the kayak. Whenever you're putting down like a paddle on the kayak and it makes that little like thunk, a fish hears that. A fish hears that, guys. That glide bait is not going to be nearly as loud as that thunk of the kayak, contrary to what people believe. So when you're dragging along a Z-Man Ned shrimp, if you thunk it, you're screwing up your chances as if you were to just keep the paddleboard maybe on a softer spot and just throw that fish everything 12. You're gonna have better luck. You just have to commit. I think people, and you guys can attest to this, you guys have caught multiple 40s this year, and you guys aren't even from here. You guys just committed. And I think that's what people just need to learn from this. Commit. Don't be afraid of the skunk. You're still going to have to go to work the next day. You still got to pay taxes. You still got to go home and cook your own food. Throw that big bait, bro. Throw that big bait.
We're fortunate enough and blessed enough to be in a state like Florida to where it's not as hard to get the results to give you that confidence to commit to it. You know what I mean? But I feel like it almost makes it even more rewarding if you're in a state where you don't have as much access to trophy-sized fish, or there's not the same quantity, you know what I mean, as there is down here. It almost creates more lore. It's like, damn, like I know there's not many 8+ pound bass where I am, but the fact that this lore give me the ability to see if there is more so than anything else is really cool. Like, I wish I was throwing swim baits back in Jersey, because the possibilities that I would have really been able to unlock, because we knew some shit, and we knew you hear about mythical things, but you're the odds of you running into them on a Ned rig or a rattle trap or a spinner bait, or
they're just lower.
Isn't the irony with that
high? You know,
like the irony with that, Kai, is like when you're fishing pressured water like Jersey, I feel like the tendency that we've been taught and that we spoke with in ourselves is to like, let's go more finesse to beat that.
Sure.
And the irony is almost like, let's get more aggressive.
Yeah,
That's
pressured water. It's the two ends of the spectrum. You either fool them by going super finesse,
or maybe you go home
by getting in their face and making them make a choice.
Yeah, like we saw Justin do that. Like, let's throw a giant fucking banana.
What's funny? Shout out to Justin. He was telling
Mania, man. That night.
Hey, he was telling us. Was he not telling us the day we?
If we want to be real, Justin told us before Alex and Eli. He was actually like cursing us, like, "Bro, are you guys retarded?
Yeah, how about you throw a banana
2 years now, and you're not throwing swim baits? Like, you saw what I was doing with them in Jersey, and you guys are still fucking around." Like,
crazy enough, I used to have people in Florida shitting on me for throwing big baits. I have DMs from people right now that are like, "What? Why are you throwing big baits? Are you fucking stupid?" And then
I've had people literally tell me, like, what the hell would you throw that bait for? That fish would have made a 3-inch NOBN.
Exactly.
It's the 3-inch.
Why not throw a 3-inch, bro? Shut up. Exactly, bro. And then months later, I can tell you the next year, if they're not already throwing big baits, they're going to be throwing big baits this year. That's what happened to every single one of these people that were DMing me. Oh, why are you throwing these big ass baits? Oh, now you're enjoying fishing again because you're throwing a big bait. Oh,
Right.
I wasn't crazy. I was just early. You weren't crazy. You were just early.
Like a couple other people we know. You know
I mean,
Exactly.
shit. We won't go too deep down that rabbit hole, Desmond, about being fucking early. Not crazy.
Exactly.
Fuck, dude. Shit.
And I think it's something to be said about that. And especially as Brendan, as a big bait builder, I'm sure you get those people that are like, oh, why are you even putting all that time into throwing that big ass bait, or building that big ass bait? Well, it's because I'm trying to achieve greatness. I'm not trying to be mediocre like the rest of you freaking plebs.
Yeah.
I'm trying to achieve greatness.
Yeah.
I love it.
I'm trying to achieve the
Yeah.
impossible.
All right.
That's
yeah.
amazing. No, that's a good point, Des. It's like I've gotten to a point in my career where like I don't need to go out there and catch a bunch of fish. Like I know if I throw a chatterbait, I could go out and catch 20, 25 pounds. Like I'm not trying to catch 20, 25 pounds. I'm trying to catch a 20, 25 pound bass.
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
that's where I'm at in my fishing
Yeah.
career.
Yup.
Yep. Bars.
Yep.
Bars.
Yeah.
No, I that was kind of what we were getting at before with like, what's the difference between dragging a worm with a 1/4 ounce tungsten and a glide? It's like a 6 and 8 pounder. Okay, we can do either of those in Florida. What's going to put us in a different category?
Yeah.
And
But see,
that's
it could
the
go
work-
either way. I
Yeah,
play
but it's a
devil's
tool.
advocate
Yeah,
to
but-
myself because
Yeah,
like
but there's times
some of the biggest bass
listen,
that I've
we
seen
need to
caught
talk
down
about-
here
Or-
have been on a
I've been
big
caught on
worm.
straight bull,
Just
bro.
dragging
I've been caught on
bars.
spinner baits.
Listen,
spinner bait.
ladies and gentlemen, it is
It's a
a
giant.
tool.
It's a giant.
Hey, this is actually great because there's 3 of us. We fish together a lot. You know why that's super interesting? When you're fishing by yourself, it's just you and whatever you're throwing at that current moment. When it's 2 of you, a lot of times Kai and I throw different stuff. Very rarely do Kai and I throw the exact same thing when we're fishing side by side in the kayaks near each other. And listen, there's days when he cannot be touched with the glide. I could throw the glide and still he can't be touched with the glide. There's days where he's throwing that glide. Maybe I decide to start pitching a
Throw
worm
that freaking
around,
chatterbait for
and I'm
snook.
behind him, and I end up getting a freaking 9 behind him on the worm, and it's a worm day. It's a spinnerbait day.
It's a worm bite.
Yeah, it's a worm, and it's a worm bite. So
Nah, I remember Eric was on that chatterbait snook bite. That was
yeah,
I don't
no, just
that was crazy.
I was just picking up, and you know what's in a funny way? You know what's funny about fishing in a group? It's like you do have to figure out little weird ways to pick off different bites. You know, and you develop.
And here's what I think it comes down to though. Like all of these bites have their fucking place, and they have their floors and they have their ceilings. And the floor, ironically, of a glide bait bite, the floor of a glide bait bite is getting skunked. The floor of dragging a worm is a 3 or 4 pounder in Florida.
Right.
You're always going to catch a fish on a worm. So to like a novice, that might even seem like the better bait. Now, when we go to the ceiling conversation, though, like what's the ceiling of dragging a worm versus what's the ceiling of putting a 1.5 years into a finely tuned glide in the right environment, in the right conditions? And that's where we go from a 6 pounder to a 16 pounder. And like
what's
it's
you
a
guys'
floor
ceiling?
versus ceiling argument to me rather than like a general fish catching argument. Because day to day, if Kai goes out with a glide and I go out with a 7-inch worm, like there might be a day where Kai gets skunked. I have a 20-pound bag. I'm like, I had a great day. But I'm never going to catch that 14-pounder that's going to change my life in the same way that he will if he goes out for, it might take a 1.5 years. And seriously, a 1.5 years for this to be a conditional statement. But if you give each of those baits a year and a half with the same level of effort, there's a difference. There's a difference.
Yeah, that's an interesting point.
Yeah.
A wacky rig Cinco versus a glide bait, which would catch the 10 plus quicker?
Well, you know what? I think it literally that's an answer that changes on the day to day. It changes on every body of water you're on. It's just simply not a question. But if you're like objectively just putting them up against one another, dude, you know what's funny? It might be the Psycho.
I'm probably going wacky rig
You
Cinco.
know what's funny? It might be. The
I
you know,
follow this guy, Just Big Bass. I think you know him.
It goes
Dalton
fish to
Albright.
fish.
Man,
You know?
that guy throws nothing but worms and shaky heads and wacky rigs, and he's catching more DDs down here in Florida.
yeah.
Like he's up there with
he's the
like
one that
Tyler Wolcott,
I
and Garrett
fished-
Nakamura, and those guys.
I fished a tournament against him that was the Southern String Online. He won. He blew everyone away out of the water. Like
Just die.
226 inches or something like
Just
that. Nothing crazy.
Just dragging worms, man.
Yeah.
Dragging worms. So
Everything's a tool, man.
It's a tool.
It all goes. That might be the theme of the pod tonight. Tool. Later.
So while we got Brendan though, like what we were supposed to get into, if we could like develop like one glide with like we're like, yo, Brendan, make this for us. What would that glide look like?
Senko glide. That's it right there.
a jointed Senko.
Just had to put it out
Now
there.
we're talking. Now we're
No,
talking.
I think we what do we think about the cichlid
Like a
shape?
tilapia,
Yeah,
6
tilapia,
inches, 6.5
tilapia,
inches.
Yeah.
but like
Mhm.
something that chops.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Not slinks along like a 3-piece.
No.
And that's
Sounds
also a
good.
good thing
That's
having a
Almost like a
cichlid.
one knocker, almost like a 1-piece, but maybe not. Maybe
Yeah.
a 2-piece, maybe with a joint that you could modify a little bit, perhaps.
Yeah.
And
Like
I will say the
one of those
silicone tail,
possibilities.
if you add a big silicone tail to it, it acts as a third joint. So like on my little balsa herring glide, I have a large silicone tail on it. It acts more like a 3 or 4-piece bait because the silicone weighs a little bit more. It sinks.
Mhm.
So it's also super floppy. I mean, you can tell like how floppy
Yeah.
that is. It catches water. It's going to make it swim more like a S motion. It's swimming more like a
Yeah.
3-piece or 4-piece. So that's where the tail comes in, and you can like do different things with your tails. But also, what you guys were saying with a cichlid or like a tilapia style bait, those taller profiles, they catch more water because there's more surface area up front. They're going to catch more water. It generally makes them better for chopping and tight movement. It's hard to get a tall bait to actually glide out wide, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's easier to get like something like that. That's easier to get to shoot out to the side to side.
I feel like those taller
Really
baits, they like stop water more, so they're better for dead walking. Like I wish there was a
They grab
better,
more.
Yeah.
almost bluegill dead walking bait. Like a bluegill dead walking bait in front of a pipe. Oh my god, are you kidding me?
I see that
Gotcha.
vision.
You see the vision, right?
Right.
But those
Pretty
trout
good
glides,
line, yeah.
though, those trout glides are innovators. You can speak to this. Those long, slender profiles. Like I've got like a hybrid in front of me where it's kind of like a trout glide, kind of like a gill glide. It kind of does a little bit of both, but those trout glides are just, oh my gosh, you can literally chuck them out there, wind them, not even look, and you know you're getting bit eventually.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay. So how do you feel in terms of like the different seasons? Let's say we have resin versus wood. What
Mhm.
bait are you throwing? They're both glides, they're both swim baits. What bait are you throwing, or what material are you throwing for which season?
Well, I'm going to be honest here, and I'm going to say I will throw I'll just say the workhorse or the Tato. Those I typically throw in colder months, partially just because of the action that they have. I tend to get bigger fish on them in whenever the water's a little colder. So about December to like March is my time for big fish. that is the time. I have a couple specific bites that I get onto where I know exactly what to do, and I know I'm going to catch a bunch of big fish on them. That's my time for those baits, but they work year round. But that is the best time I've found for those baits, and those are both resin. Wood baits, though, you can throw year round, and I could use my baits in that situation too. But I like fishing my baits in different situations, and I feel they are not perfectly suited to those little weird situations that I've found where those two baits perform and outperform everything else. So I'm not making that bait to fit in that situation because a bait already exists for that, if that makes sense. And one thing to add, this is probably the most important thing I might say on this podcast tonight, and that is that feel is everything with a glide bait.
Yes.
If you can feel that bait, that is the most important thing. And that's one thing wood does, especially balsa, since it floats so much and wants to pull up. That wood, you can feel it better than a chatterbait. When you fish like a balsa glide that I have, your rod tip's going like that. I mean, it's hard. Like you feel that thing so good.
You can feel when it's about to turn.
You know, literally, you will know exactly when it's pointed left or right whenever you're fishing that bait, which is a super big thing for me because I fish like water that has 2-inch visibility. I fish straight mud most of the time. It's either mud or like super stained Florida type water, like coffee. Those are the two kinds of waters that I fish. I don't think I've ever fished water with 4-foot clarity ever. Wow. Like it's always muddy. So feel is huge because you can't get that visual of that bait. So you can feel when that bait's running through grass. You can feel exactly when everything's happening. That's a huge thing.
I used to be a big visual person, pretty much up until like the last couple months. And there was a guy named Keaton down here in Tampa. He told me, yo, you need to stop trying to fish it so high in the water column. Just focus on the feel. Yeah. And ever since then, I've gotten on a crazy depths 250 bite because of the fact that I'm just focusing on when I can feel that thump. All right, well, I know it's on this side now. Okay, well, I know it's on this side now. All right, cool. Boom, boom, boom. And then whenever I fish, I fish this one multi-segment bait that he makes, and I can feel it even when I don't see it. And I wouldn't have listened to him if this man wasn't on good fish all the time. And yeah, I feel like I really resonate with that. Focus on the thump, focus on the feel. I feel like too many people are fishing these crazy, like these pink lemonade metros because they're like, oh, I want to see it in the muddy water. Oh, I want to see it in this water and all this and all that. They need to focus on the feel, on the thump. I really resonate with that. I like that.
I mean, like, you know, it's not totally a glide bait situation, but it's kind of like, where did this whole movement start? And I fished a lot with Bill Wetzel in Montauk in the last year. But for real, like, one bait he's really on is the darter. Yeah. And he's so obsessed with the darter. And a darter, the way you move a darter is like you're cranking at this pace. Like, I'm talking like a foot a second max in big Montauk water. And you're moving it at this pace and you're tapping every crank every 5 to 10 seconds. And that bait in the water is moving like almost dead stick with an occasional twitch. That's how a darter is moving. These are the biggest predators on the east coast of North America eating these baits, moving like that. And it's the way it kind of like applies to this glide bait thing for me, and just like the conceptual, like how we think of how bait moves versus how fish actually eat is like, we think, okay, we need to make this thing stand out so that a predator can find it. Actually, like, just the most subtle movement makes things stand out. Eventually. Exactly. Because like nature is so good at surviving that a 6-inch bait fish is not getting eaten, because a 6-inch bait fish made it from 3, 4, 5 to 6 inches by blending in. So when it gets to 6 inches, like we're trying to imitate the weakest link of something that made it to 6 inches, not the weakest link, generally speaking. I don't know if that makes sense,
No,
but
it makes
like,
perfect sense.
It does.
but like, if something made it from 2 inches to 6 inches, it's not a
We're representing
dumb
the
animal.
idiot. Yeah.
It's not a dumb creature. So
We're
like
representing
we're
the
trying to
weakling.
make it the dumbest 6-inch profile that it could possibly be, not the dumbest profile in general. Because if it's so dumb and 6 inches, like a fish is going to look at that and be like, "That's too dumb to have ever made it
Yeah,
this
he's-
big in the first place."
I
I don't know if that makes sense, but like,
no, it does.
Makes sense.
yeah.
Makes perfect sense.
That's crazy. I mean, somebody said cast a Senko in the middle of the school. No, cast a sink gill in the middle of the school. When you cast that gill out, that fish is now your fish. If you guys remember that Funk Flex broadcast when he released Watch the Throne, where he's like, "That money's not your money." Yeah, that sink gill fish is now your sink gill fish. Just cast in the middle of it.
And I
that
will
goes
add
for any
this
bait.
is, I will add this is most baits do not have good feel, which is something I wanted to get in my bait. And now the workhorse and the Tato you have great feel on as well. But feel is a huge thing. I just wanted to make sure that some of the listeners here and the viewers made sure that they knew that, because that's a huge thing. Because sometimes, I mean, I've never personally experienced it, but I know some people that say, like David Fritz, he has talked about plenty times before, if you can feel that crankbait, sometimes you can feel the water that fish is, if that fish is behind it and that fish stops, you can feel your crankbait. Something in the action of your crankbait changes if you're
You can
dialed
feel
in on
it.
it.
They like
Yes.
just tap it. You can feel it.
So
And you can feel when you're running into a school of bait fish sometimes.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
like here in Georgia, like in southern Georgia, we'll get these giant schools of threadfin shad. I mean, like schools that are longer than your boat, giant. And these bass follow them around. We'll only hit them at sunset and sunrise. That's the only time. You have about an hour window at both. And you have to throw the best bait in that situation that I found for catching the biggest fish that are preying on those fish in the school is a glide bait. And if you're able to feel, that helps.
I feel like that's the hardest environment to fish a glide too in southern Georgia. From what I've heard, all that clay and just that muddy chocolate milk water.
I would never trade it for anything else. It's my favorite thing ever.
Hey, Brandon.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question, man, about southern Georgia?
Okay.
Why are there so many cops?
in Georgia,
right?
In southern Georgia, we need
GSP is wild.
Highway 75.
Bro.
From the moment you cross the Florida line to Macon is the single most policed stretch of highway I have ever seen in my life. And they are out for blood, ladies and gentlemen. Blood, your blood. So I'm just
GSP
warning
moves
everyone.
like Judge Dredd, bro. They move like Judge Dredd.
It's like literally that entire like part of Georgia. Like it's not just 75. It's everywhere. It's crazy. Yeah.
They regulating. They said we can't have none of these crazy Floridians coming up here.
They're trying to curb the population, bro. They're trying to cull us.
Yeah. They too long.
But I will say the DNR here is
Hey, Kai ain't making 20 minutes, bro.
Oh my
I got my ass quick.
There's not many DNR agents though. I never see any like walking around like ever. Like if you're like out there at a lake or something like that, a public lake or like a boat ramp, never seen one ever. But there's cops everywhere. So you don't have to fear green jeans in Georgia normally, it seems.
What? Cities like that though, with tight law enforcement where you feel like you're in danger of your life, cities like that, they got the best food. They got the best southern food of all time.
Probably.
If I am afraid for my life, best believe I'm sitting down for biscuits and gravy. Because I'm gonna have the best biscuits. I'm gonna possibly have the last biscuits and gravy of my life, but they're gonna be the best biscuits and gravy.
Yep. That's it right there.
That's a fact.
Dude, I feel bad. Like I want to come fish with you, Brendan, but like I
No.
hate Georgia I hate Georgia that.
Brennan, come fish with us, bro. I'm not going back up 70. Look,
I hate
Johnny,
Georgia
I'm
that
John-
much, dude.
Johnny and I are going to Chattanooga soon.
I don't think I'm
just
allowed
there.
in the state of Georgia, bro.
Bro,
Oh,
I'm just listen.
man.
I'm so grateful that I'm flying this time because that drive is treacherous. No,
Mhm.
bro, that drive is treacherous.
There's some back roads that you can take that are fun instead of going up 75. If you want to come visit and
prefer
fish the
that. Well,
river or the lakes.
if I don't have to go right through Joe's Georgia, I like going through Alabama actually slightly more. Southern Alabama is a little bit more forgiving. Believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen. So if you want to know, go up through Dothan, you'll be all right.
Yeah, Dothan,
Fuck.
Alabama.
Is that even true?
Just,
Like,
I mean,
no.
I come on this show and you guys are insulting my home state. I can't believe it.
No,
I just
yeah,
can't
I-
believe
we
it.
love chocolate
I-
milk water.
I
We
do
love
that-
the
I
chocolate
do
milk
that
water
with
of Georgia.
I apologize.
We love
It is
Atlanta.
what it
We
is.
love
Anyone from
Buckhead,
Georgia, listen.
Georgia.
dude, honestly, you're so
love
dialed
Big
and you're
Small.
so technical. I figured you were from like at least Tennessee or something.
Yeah,
I didn't even.
that's what I thought this whole time.
I didn't even know you.
No, I'm just some dumb redneck out here. That's all I am. I kind of know how to make baits and fish,
Where'd you get your
but I don't really know what I'm
katana
doing.
Where'd you get your sword, bro?
My sword?
Yeah,
That was from a friend of mine.
Oh my God,
Japanese
this is
or what's the
samurai
deal?
sword.
Should I chop a bait?
yeah, chop something.
Yeah, chop a bit on stream.
No, you gotta do it like the hobbyist fishing.
Oh yeah, yep.
Dude, how does he chop? How has he not damaged his boards already, bro? He chops them so hard.
I don't know, man, but he running through them soft plastics. That's all I know.
He's just using AI.
Them
Right.
soft plastics ain't cheap.
Well,
Just
Brendan,
AI.
while we got a
Yeah,
second,
it probably is.
show off
he
some
is
work.
AI.
Show off some work, dude.
60 liters.
Show off some work.
Yeah, show off some work. Let's see it. Let's see some
All right.
baits that you've painted.
Well, I got a few sitting here. I'll go grab some more, but these are this is the 6-inch herring, and I think you guys know that it's hard to see the colors in here.
Yeah, no, we know it's gonna be.
But
tricky.
that's a bass.
What's that though? I like that for a fall.
That's beautiful. And it's got like a
So,
wide
then it also
diameter,
has.
too. Holy hell.
It is. It's a chunky bait, but that helps it. That helps it
helps
thump a little
push
more. So
water.
you can take the pin out.
Yeah.
You can mess with the screws. It has the tune chamber in there, and these do come stock floating. So they have that
Okay.
tune chamber, and they come with 2 weights, one for a suspend and one for a slow sink. And if they're floating, so that means they're going to swim down to 3 feet. And I have them tuned to swim down to 3 feet, then slowly float back up. So you can also, if you hold your rod tip up high enough, you can get them to walk on top of the water like a spook, and they splash around to get there. So there's just kind of like a
Oh,
lavender
shit.
looking one. Some
That's
scales
cool.
on the
That
sides.
color.
That looks familiar to us.
Oh,
It does. It does, Johnny. It does.
Yeah.
That should be a fish catcher right there. I like that color. And then there's this one. It's got some blue bars, some
Ooh.
chartreuse,
Those little
little
bars
bit of
right there are
natural.
beautiful. Holy hell.
and they disappear, which is the fun little part. It's gold on the back, a little darker gold on there. And then this is one of my personal ones that I fish, but that's just a simple blue pearl, gray bone
That's
kind of
nice.
bait fish pattern.
That's beautiful. I like
Just
that
like
lot.
a real simple looking pattern.
I like that you round everything out, so it probably sounds a little bit quieter or a little bit softer whenever you're gliding these baits.
It is.
I do like that little detail.
It is a little bit. And one thing I want to experiment with, I don't know if I should say this on here if there's other bait makers on here, but I'll say it anyway because I probably won't get around to it, is making a film that you can put over where the hooks rub on the bait. That's soft, kind of like a plasti dip type stuff. So the hooks don't make noise. Because hooks on ball is super loud. So I don't know, maybe one day I'll get around to something like that, but there's a couple crankbaits. These are large bodied crankbaits. You can work them like a jerk bait, all kinds of stuff. So
I imagine
scales
those
on the back,
are like crazy
a
too.
little bit of everything.
Well, I know, just for people keeping up, like we're gonna be throwing some of your jerk baits in February, March for the walleye bite. we've got a couple of unique things going on from you to try out in between then. But I know down
Yep.
the line, like one of our biggest goals is to spec out like a custom saltwater glide that
The perfect
we can all
glide.
work on together. So just something
I'm
for the
down for
people
it.
to look out for.
We need
you
a
know?
bunker profile. We need a bunker profile.
How about a mullet?
Oh,
mullet?
the mullet profile.
Oh well, that's
Whoa.
fire.
Shit.
That,
Wait, turn it top down again. That thing's got a fat head. Holy
Yeah,
hell.
that thing is thick.
Woo!
Nick Jones.
Wow.
wow.
I
How
don't
much
know
does
when
that
you're
weigh?
releasing that.
I think it weighs like 11 ounces. It's a pretty big bait.
That's
Oh,
right in my
It's pretty
book.
good size.
That's right in my book. I love
It's a
it.
little more
So
snaky
good.
than the ghost.
Right now.
Send that to me right now. I will throw that. I'll walk waist deep in the water and throw that. I don't even care. I will walk waist deep in the
Look, you
water.
want to cast that off.
I'm not. I've lost a total of probably seven baits this year. I lost a couple 250s.
Whoa.
Lost a couple frenzies. Those frenzies hurt. I'll be honest. Those
Yeah,
those DRT frenzies hurt.
those are expensive.
And then I lost one Heagle. I got another Heagle, but I lost another Heagle. Right.
Damn, man.
One thing I would like to bring up, you guys were telling about your least favorite baits. I never said mine, and I'm going to say it,
Tell us.
and I get a lot of flack for this, but I have the proof to back up why. So, Andrew Hinkle, the Hinkle's baits are so inconsistent. I have tuned and fixed so many of them.
Yes.
It
Yes.
is my least favorite bait, and it's also really
Yes.
it's also really ugly.
Bro.
Super ugly
You
bait.
just vindicated, Desmond.
They're
I've
so
never seen
they're
anybody.
so inconsistent. Me and Andrew Hinkle got actual beef to the point where like if I ever see him in person, I might either nap him up or we gotta throw. We gotta throw him.
He has made some comments to
Andrew
me.
Hinkle.
He has made some. We have exchanged words before.
I'm
Ugh.
happy that
Yeah.
he-
So let me ask this:
Bait maker.
Why is a Hinkle trout or a Hinkle shad $1,000 or whatever they go?
Because
Because
people
the fan
think it's worth
base.
that.
the
It's
fan-
people.
really?
It's all
You can
insider
hype up
trading.
anything if you want.
I have a conspiracy theory to say to everyone. All of these baits are priced due to insider trading. I've come up with a hack to do insider trading, and it's actually worked. I sell a couple baits to myself on a separate profile. I sell it to each other. Oh, I sell them increasingly $10 more, right?
You mean the
We
art
have-
world?
Huh?
It's like the art world. That's how
Exactly.
art works.
It is.
Wow? Are we gonna pull
Yes.
some Hunter Biden stuff,
Yes.
Desmond? Is that what you're talking about?
Brother, you
Why,
are
why do you
witnessing.
think Trump Jr. fishes, bro?
That's crazy.
Yes,
You go-
yes.
You're gonna go make a bait and sell it to yourself for $800.
Well, let's
So
be
people
real.
think
Like,
people are spending $800 on your bait.
That's
this is a
That's
good question
nuts.
for
Hilarious.
Brendan, as someone who
That's
makes baits,
nuts.
dude. Like, Brendan, at what point is it like, okay, this is the amount of money where like I could put into this bait and make it better, versus like any more than this, it's just marketing. What's that number?
It's a little hard to say because here's my thing: is I'm a big Mickey Ellis fan of 316. I believe he makes some of the best baits ever, and he has his
Agreed.
baits priced a little high. But here's the thing: is he builds them how they should be built, and they swim how they should swim, not how other people want them to swim. Okay,
Mm.
he doesn't make the workhorse to chop. I mean, it can kind of chop, but he makes it his baits how they should work, not how other people want them to work. I have one of his Beast Glide, which is his giant, like 11-inch glide
His
bait.
bigger
That's
profile.
priced at $500. That's not a cheap bait. I feel like there's only a few people that can pull off that price point. That there's only like most people can't pull off that price point to where it's worth it. At that point, they're just saying that their time's worth that and their materials are worth that. But Mickey knows that bait is worth $500 because that's his time and that's his material cost. It seems like he's he's good enough and reputable enough to where that bait is worth $500.
Right.
So it kind of goes person to person. I wouldn't say as a grand scheme, $500 is where it stops, or $200 or something like that.
There is a bait maker who I feel should be charging more for what they actually put out. Caesar from Toxic Baits. If you're watching this, you have one of the best baits of all time. He's that guy's a pioneer. He puts.
I
other
just
people
bought my
on.
TK off of him.
Dude, Caesar from Toxic Baits. That dude is a real one. He throws up baits that he buys from other builders and he sells them all the time after he's done fishing them. But he sells a great bait for a great price, and I feel like more people should follow in bait builders like that. I feel like a lot of up and coming builders, such as Brandon, they're building these baits with a realistic point of view, and they're like, "Hey, these are tools to catch fish. These are good tools, and I'm going to get my money's worth out of the time that I put in them. But however, I'm not going to price gouge." It's this perfect middle ground to where it makes you have a good customer base too, because brands are represented by their customers. Working Class Zero, they have great baits. However, they're starting to get some of the most stuck up, corny customers of all time. Throwback Baits, amazing baits. However, if I find somebody else that, I love the Metro, I'm going to blow your head up. However, when I hear somebody that says, I love the Toxic weight hogs, I'm like, okay, you're not new to this. You're true to this, though. You know what I mean? When I hear that they say, I support a garage builder that I've never heard of, then I know that they're really true to this. You know what I mean? And I think
that is an interesting thing, though, Desmond. Like, where's the line of like, you're true to this because I've never heard of the. It reminds me of music in a sense.
Yes.
Like
it's like bands.
Oh, you're talking about an artist I've never heard of. Like, does that make you tapped in, or are you at a certain point like, hey, I've heard of Led Zeppelin, you've heard of Led Zeppelin, but that's because Led Zeppelin's fucking great? Or are you talking about an artist that I've never heard of because you're tapped in, or because that artist is kind of fucking so local he's trash? Like, there's like at some point with all of these things, you know what I mean? Like,
analogy for that.
Like no one's gonna say like you're basic because you love Led Zeppelin. They're gonna be like,
it's all these weird nuances.
And that's how I feel like it is with some of these bait things. It's like there's an interesting balance of like being ahead of the curve and being like tapped in because you're early and tapped in because you're dialed, but then being like overly tapped in just because you're just almost trying to be a dick. Like, I don't even know how to say it, but like, you're not even fishing this.
I know this bait builder because I'm better than you.
And like, yeah, exactly. And like, and that's why I compare it to music. It's like sometimes like, all right, yeah, you've heard of this guy because, and the reason I haven't heard his music is because he blows. Like, there's nothing else to it. And like, I feel like the bait shit is sometimes kind of the same thing. Like no one's gonna we've all fished a Mulletron because like a Z-Man Mulletron works. Like no one's gonna chirp it.
It's a good bait.
But like, maybe that's like Katy Perry. Like we've all fucking heard of or Rihanna.
Is Blinding Lights not a great song, Johnny?
Right. Like Blinding Lights is fucking awesome.
It's a good song.
Like I don't even want to say it's a great song. I don't want to say a Ned rig works, but like
it's like Caribbean Queen versus Blinding Lights. Caribbean Queen,
and that's all I'm saying. That's all I don't want to get like too like let's compare this to that. But like with the swim bait culture, sometimes it reminds me of music or fashion in that sense. And like
for sure.
For sure.
I
mean, half the reason I was throwing the NOBN A rig was because of the way that jits have perverted that brand. You know what I'm saying? We got a $100
A rig.
And that was so ironic because the way you handled that A rig situation was like, The Jits have raped this brand. Let's double down on the rape. Like,
That was full.
and it worked, bro.
Bro.
Let me help you.
It's an A-rig. Go ahead. Go throw that A-rig, kids.
Yeah,
Throw
let's
your
double
fucking
down on
7
that.
Yeah, I know this brand is already fucked,
get
but
the
let's
job.
throw 5 of them
Hey,
on one
this
ride.
shit's so ignorant. And by the way, like, we all speak from a brand and a culture where, like, yo, we throw NLBNs. NLBN has supported us. NLBNs work.
They just work.
work.
Yeah,
They
that's
work very well.
Why do you think they're so popular? Why
They
are
work very
NLPs
well.
So let me just clarify. NLBNs work so well. Throw them on a goddamn A-Rick. Like, that's how well
Bro.
they work. Like,
Bro, that was just so crazy. That was like the ultimate hype. That was the ultimate hype explore page like rig, bro.
It was
He had
egregious.
K-tails. It was egregious, but in the best way possible.
It actually gets fucking
Gets
big.
And it got hit, bro.
hold on. Let
How
me
many
answer
packs
this
now?
question
Just
from
that
Carlos.
one. Oh,
real
no,
quick.
2. I caught one at the spill.
Carlos, fair
Miller
question.
Corona.
Coming on to 11 p.m.
Oh, shit. Yeah, we're late tonight.
Modelo or Corona? It's Corona.
Both.
It's
I'm
it's
drinking both.
all right. Well, there's two answers. here.
Modelo's is for
There's
special occasions.
there's the
What-
right
what-
answer and there's the wrong
Think
answer.
about the nights with Efren. Think about
All right.
the
So when you're in America, when you're in Florida, the state of Florida with Puerto Ricans, and you're broke betting on Dogecoin at 1 a.m, it's Corona. When you're actually in Mexico with the Mexicans, I don't even think they offer you Corona. They only serve Modelo. And when I was in Mexico, the only beer I had was Modelo. They don't have Corona.
Either
when I'm
that
in-
or El Presidente.
when I was in when we were in Mag, the only beer I had was tequila in Mag.
So yeah. So to finish off, like, Puerto Ricans in America pretending to be Mexican drink Corona. Actual Mexicans in Mexico drink Modelo. Is that fair? Is that right? I don't know.
no, but Efren had Modelo's.
He was sipping Modelo.
The right answer,
Modelo,
actually,
man.
guys, is highlights. The
he
right
went-
answer is
I
highlights.
think he had the
guys.
Coronas at the height of the Bitcoin stuff, and then when the Bitcoin thing
Yeah.
switched over,
Yes.
he started doing the dogs, and then he switched to Modelo.
When the Frenchies, the Modelo's and the Frenchies.
I'm gonna say this: the right answer
simultaneously.
is a Miller Lite. Just putting it
The
out
right
there.
answer is a highlight, guys.
That's-
The right
that's-
answer is a highlight. You crush it.
Yes.
You
So-
you are really from
Johnny.
Georgia, huh, Brendan?
Remember Johnny?
I am.
Johnny,
Guys.
do you remember?
The right
You
answer
remember the
is
30
a
rack?
OG Four Loco.
Do you remember the 30 rack go to in high school?
What the what are you talking about? The Bush
Like a
Lights?
30 rack of beer. Like if you were gonna get a 30 rack, you remember what we used to buy?
Oh, what was it? Crystal?
Keystone
Keystone.
Light. Keystone.
No. I to this day am like, if we have a 30 of Coors Light, like Coors Light,
That's
I hate when people chirp that.
Coors
Coors
Light
Light's
is
amazing. Coors Light is
Coors
an
Light is
American
not
beer.
amazing.
Coors Light is an American beer.
Miller High Life, bro. Miller High Life or nothing. The champagne of beers or nothing. Or Four Locos. Hear me out. They're $4
Well,
bucks,
you would like
they
my
get you
friend
a-
Ryan Arena. Kai knows Ryan very well. He
Oh, I know Ryan.
yeah.
I wish
No.
I was old enough to drink for the OG formula. I would have been
No,
banging them things
no,
out
dude.
daily.
No, you don't.
No,
you don't.
dude, you're good on that. I
That
promise.
was a bad
That
era.
shit was
You
very
know,
dangerous.
when we were coming up, Desmond, Four Locos had crack in it.
Mhm.
That's what
Mhm.
I love pulling that line on the younger kids. Because we drank them for real. We had loco nights. Not good.
No,
For
my buddy,
$5, bro, you can see
Don't do
you can
it.
see you can see the other rum, bro. For
dude, you
$5,
spend
you can see another
$5, you're
round.
set for like a whole weekend if you make it out alive, dude. That
You
shit
can have
was
an ego death on $5, bro.
No, but the thing is, like, ULO, let's just be clear for everyone listening. Like, we've never been big drinkers as like
Oh,
a
yeah.
collective
That's
because
the irony.
we've had to move. We've had to move like multiple miles, and like the only times I can really think were like we've really like beer is such an associated thing with fishing, especially bass fishing. And it's always been ironic to us because like we've been around that scene and we're not soft to it. We're not like, oh, don't consume a substance. Don't change your mental state. If anything, we've been a little too much on the opposite end of that spectrum. But on the alcohol side, like I mean, granted, it's ironic because we do these podcasts a little buzzed every week.
No,
but like
that's a good point.
But like, you know what I mean, Eric? Like,
yeah,
like,
no, listen,
like,
hey, listen, no. That is a good point. You guys, this is almost turned into like a funny thing at this point. I just want to make sure everyone knows this is the same bottle from the last podcast. This is the only time these gets touched. I think we almost
I don't know if I believe that.
I
but
think
like,
we almost use these as our one chance to let a little more loose in that sense and have fun with you guys. But I can say from group experience, listen, if this is what we were doing on the daily, then none of what you see on the Instagram or the YouTube or anything, Johnny, in a house right now, none of that would happen. So that
well, you mean like
everyone,
a roof over my head?
Yeah,
I mean, that's fair.
everyone keep that in mind. That this
Everyone's
is not,
saying stick to the fish whistle. I tried that once, and I stared at Mike Akinelli for probably 30 seconds without talking. So,
I mean,
listen.
at the end of the day,
Oh,
though,
James, you
like,
can't handle the fish whistle, man.
bro, I have a little to no tolerance of nicotine and Mary Jane.
Thing.
So the one time I tried it, Mike Akinelli came to the podcast, and I was staring at him for
listen,
probably.
If your thing is to be dead stone, white eyes sober every day that you fish and wake up, if your thing is to mainline morphine into your veins at 4 a.m. before you go throw a glide bait, do your thing, man. That's it. But don't let
listen,
anyone sway you
I just
otherwise.
feel like if you're fishing, it's because you're chasing something. You're chasing. You're trying to catch a feeling that like we know is real, we know is out there. And like, to be honest with you, like, listen, if you're still listening at this point, good, because like we've filtered out everyone who shouldn't be. Like, that's why people do drugs. It's why people drink alcohol. It's because we're chasing a rabbit, and fishing is one of the healthier ways to chase that rabbit. But I'm not here to tell you that like fishing is the end all be all activity. Like, we're all chasing a rabbit. We've been chasing it since we were born. We're never going to fucking catch it. I think this is one of the healthier outlets for this shared human experience, for this shared like shortcoming that we have as part of the human condition. But like, that's not to say I'm out here telling you if you follow Eric, Kai, and I's footsteps, you're going to be fucking happy. No, you're actually going to be more miserable than ever because you're going to catch a 40-inch snook and you're going to say, why the fuck wasn't it 42?
Why wasn't it 45?
43? And why wasn't it 45? And
then
you're
once
just
you
going
got
to
to
be in a
45,
rabbit hole. And
why
that's
was it on
all
the
we're in.
K-tail?
You know why we're talking to Brendan tonight? It's because we've tried every bait on the market. We're trying to get this guy to build us a bait that'll catch us a 45 instead of a 44. Then we're going to catch that 45, and we're going to spend the next 10 fucking years of our life trying to catch a 46. This shit never ends. It's not a joke, and we're not here to solve your fucking problems. So,
as you guys hear this, Johnny
never
is
gonna
going
get
to
it.
come back next week with a 50-inch.
So clip that shit.
Exactly.
Johnny's going to come back with a Bad Bunny snook tomorrow, just so you guys know.
Clip that shit. Anyways.
All right. So before we go, what's everybody's rabbit? What's everybody's dream scenario that they're like, hey, if I die tomorrow, I'll die happy? What's everybody's dream
Say it
scenario?
again, Dave.
Yo, I'm so fired up to go to Puerto Rico and catch a
All right.
giant fucking fish tomorrow, bro. It's
Bro,
He's-
you-
it's-
guys,
you're
just so
literally
you
gonna
know.
catch a 45.
Just so you
I'm
know,
gonna catch
he-
such a big fish this week, dude. You have no fucking clue. Then I'm gonna
just so
come
you
back.
know, in honor of dead crab fishing, he's gonna catch his 50th snook on a live mullet head.
Yo, fuck dead crab, bro. Dead crab. You know, you want to know? All right, you know what? Fuck it. I drank my. We're at that point. Like,
You got
Dead
10 minutes
crab.
left.
if Dead Crab's really about it, he'll go to Gaza and he'll catch a GT in the Dead Sea. If he's not about it, he'll keep posting about ice. I don't give a fuck anymore. Okay? I'm here to tell you, like, Eric and Kai are really good at catching snook between 38 to 42 inches. Brendan's going to build them a bait that will catch them a 44-incher. We're going to sell that bait. You guys are all going to learn from us, and we're going to keep moving forward. I'm not here to solve a genocide. I'm not here to solve world peace. I'm here to catch a 40-pound cubera from the shore. I'll get back to you in 8 days. Give me a chance. Good night. That's all I got.
That's it.
For everybody
That's it.
to close out,
Oh,
let's all just name before we close out. What is our high that we're chasing? For me, it's
what?
got to be your dream scenario. Your dream scenario for your dream fishing scenario, right?
Okay.
For me, it's gonna be either the DRT Frenzy or the DRT Ghost on a snook that I get on camera, or some type of Jack Crevalle or some type of shark. I need some type of visual eat on camera of a saltwater fish on a DRT Frenzy or a DRT Ghost.
Okay.
What's everybody else? Let's go around. Let's just kind of go around. This is your dream scenario.
Dream fish scenario. Well, it have to be on my Gong Li shit. A giant yellow cheek on the Glide. If you don't know what a yellow cheek is,
I don't
you
know
should
what
go
the fuck a
Google it
yellow
right
cheek
now.
I don't know what the hell a yellow cheek is.
Yeah.
And my dream scenario would be to film that visual eat with Kai standing next to him of the yellow cheek on the Glide. That's my dreams. Like, obviously catching, I could name you 50, but I do think about that these days, and we've had opportunity to film very cool eats with the various species, but to do it with something that's truly never been filmed before to that capacity. That is my ultimate scenario with that. With my
TJ
boys,
Flag.
like Uncle Larry's,
TJ Flag, if
boys.
you're watching this, I'm going to be the first one with a saltwater frenzy. TJ Flag, if you guys don't know, has the most frenzy catches on the DRT frenzy. This guy has probably like in the double digits for pike and bass.
What's his name?
His name is TJ Flag. Me and him could make a Bible or a quote book of just straight quotes that we have of just people in the DRT community that we have either some type of resent against or some type of hot take. However, I got to give him his flowers. I got to give Marvin Kogar III.
Marv.
Marvin Kogar III. I got to give him his flowers. He's also been on a crazy big bait bite. I learned a lot from him too. But that is my dream scenario. A frenzy fish in saltwater. I wanted to break the bait in half. I don't even want the bait to come back to me unscathed. I want it to be missing half of its body.
Des, you see that guy in Miami who throws it for the Barracuda?
Yes.
All over
The depth 300 for Barracuda on a conventional reel. What type of
on
fish
a
is that
conventional
big?
reel. Oh my goodness. No, he's ripping it. He's like those tuna guys.
No, he's
like,
ripping
like
them,
the
bro. It's
Japanese
crazy.
dudes.
That's awesome.
Off a haul over. Just throwing
That's the
a
type
giant
of shit I want to experience, bro. I want to experience shit that people are like dropping their freaking food at. That are like, holy, yo, how does this guy even do that? I feel like we can embody that through throwing these big ass baits. So we have two left. We have Johnny and Brendan.
So
What do you
I'll
guys
be
think
quick
scenario?
with like my first one. My first quick one is like this next 8 days. My goal is catch a giant cubera. Like I'm just gonna be ripping giant poppers for one bite for 8 days. Like that's my goal. 8 days of ripping giant topwater for one big bite. Kai, Eric, and I all experienced that. Like, 5 to 10 pounds cubera bite. Like I'm looking for that 30, 40 pounder from shore just to prove something to myself. My lifetime goal is a mangar with the boys. I'm talking like I gotta wear a turban. Like I don't even know. Like whatever that shit takes. Tigris, Euphrates, biblical river. I need like I need like access to the tablets, and I got to speak some kind of code just to fucking take a cast at these fish. That's my goal. Is a mangar, because you can only find them, and I want it to be like the couple weeks before those rivers dry up. I want it to be like the final few pools before the apocalypse comes down and they dry up and everything goes down. That's my
And
goal.
nobody else can catch him ever again.
Yeah.
Yes, Flarehawk on the at the mouth of the Tigris and the Euphrates.
Flarehawk
Where they meet.
Mangar.
That's my dream. That's my dream.
Wow.
I love
And
that. That's phenomenal.
ripping cigs with the boys. The Abrahamic religions come together and shit blows up. Like that's it.
Oh my
The
god.
third temple.
Explosions in the
The
background.
third
Yeah,
temple.
that's
The
squad
third
name.
temple. That's it. I don't even know
It's
what it
the-
means, but like we're gonna
The
catch
squad
giant.
name.
Oh
No,
my!
yeah,
Oh
yeah,
God!
yeah.
Yeah, no, we're gonna keep it good.
Oh,
Don't get that.
When you take a
started.
picture with that fish, you want explosions in the background. You want pyramids. You want all the stuff in the
Yeah,
all
background.
of it.
everything,
All of it.
aliens.
Like
Everything.
yeah, like me, Netanyahu, and like a couple nukes going off, dude.
You
Just like I
Shout
can't
out
even
Big
hold
Net.
this thing
Shout
up.
out Big Net.
Big BB.
It's gonna be sick, bro.
It's
gonna be dope, bro.
Oh
Shout
my
out
God!
Net.
All right, we got to end this.
all right. We gotta close out.
Well, before we do, like, first of all, everybody who's been listening, like, first of all, shout out to Brendan for sticking with us. But Brendan Brown up next. We got to know this kid from Epic Eric and a ton of guys who've been involved in the swim bait community, in the custom bait community. And Brendan, man, like we've been talking to you for a while, but I hope everyone who's listening to the podcast just hears just how dialed and how tuned in you are to like the 100th of an inch of the work that you do. And it's not just about fishing, it's fishing, it's culture, it's art, it's passion, and it's impact. Like, dude, your work embodies all of that. So just hopefully everyone who's tuned in, check that out. I hope we're going to do work with you in the future on developing our own baits and bringing that to our crowd and our client base and our fans and people we've impacted. I'll stop now, but that's just what I wanted to say. God bless. Thank you guys, everybody who's tuned in. I'll leave it to Eric,
Thank you so
Kai,
much.
Des, and
Closing
Brendan.
comments. Everybody go
Thank you.
around and just say a closing blurb, advice, game, whatever you want. Let's keep it short and sweet. We'll go with Brendan first.
Fear God, stay humble, original sin. We all come from the same struggle.
Gosh. Next we got up Kai.
I'm gonna go back to a conversation that was had in a group chat that we were in earlier with our buddy Crab. You gotta believe in something else. The world, we look around,
Stained.
it's a
plagued.
crazy place, and it can feel hopeless at times. But then you remember all of the little intricacies of this divine life that we live, and how everything is connected and interconnected. And it brings you to the conclusion that there has to be a higher source of some sort to be able to put this all together in such a way, such a perfect symmetrical way. So at the end of the day, just remember, God got it. God got it. Let go and let God. And if you don't believe in God, you better start.
You better figure something out.
He out there,
You
and
gotta
he
figure
wants
something.
you to reach out to him, Crab. Yeah, reach out to him.
Hit him up.
All right, next we got Brandon, and then I'll close out. I'll close out once Brandon says this.
All right. So this is a piece of advice that my dad gave me a long time ago. Do the job 110%. And I'm adding something extra to this just because of this. This is something we mentioned earlier. Don't be a tool. Just had to add it.
Yup.
Alright.
That's great, man. That was, what a cool.
Whoa.
What a
My
Oh.
closing arguments to close this out. If you are in a corner store, if you're in a Walgreens or Target and you buy a cash register, reach in it. That money is now your money. Let's go.
Now,
Goodbye.
That's a joke. You guys got to get the reference, man. You had to be there.